Chapter 1020. On the road to the depths of the Divine Valley, Lin Rui kept explaining to Lu Changtian about cultivation. Lu Changtian was like a child, obediently and seriously listening. He didn't show any signs of impatience. On the contrary, he looked very excited. Whenever Lin Rui talked about something interesting, Lu Changtian couldn't help but exclaim in excitement. In contrast, Lin Rui didn't show any reaction. After all, he was talking about the general knowledge of cultivation and not the martial arts knowledge of the heavenly fate world. At this moment, Lu Changtian knew that the world was so big and he was so insignificant. Especially when he heard Lin Rui talking about cultivation, he felt that he was in front of him. As for the matter of cultivation, he understood that the heavenly mandate martial cultivator realm was just the beginning of the path to cultivation. That was all. In contrast, Lu Changtian was looking forward to cultivation even more. At the same time, he was even more motivated. He wanted to become stronger. This was his wish since he was young. No matter how many years had passed, this wish was still there. As the saying goes, if one was born as a human, if one didn't put his life on the line, wouldn't it be a waste to live in this world? Master, how much further do we have to go? Lu Changtian, who was walking behind Lin Li, had a bitter look on his face as he dragged his tired body along. He clearly didn't want to go any further. Hee, you brat. Understanding Lu Changtian's meaning, Lin Rui smiled faintly and said, let's stop and rest for a few days. I just sensed a lake in front of us. After saying that, Lin Rui didn't say anything else and didn't stop. He even quickened his pace. In contrast, Lu Changtian, who was following behind him, had a bitter expression on his face. Are you teasing me? Master, you've had an easy journey, but what about me? After saying that, he couldn't help but recall the hardships he had to go through. I helped you pick spiritual herbs and beat demonic beasts. What do you want me to do? I haven't rested for a day. It's very tiring. However, no matter how much he complained, Lin Rui acted as if he didn't hear him. He leisurely walked forward and hummed a tune. He was very uncomfortable. I have a little donkey, but I never ride it. Lin Rui hummed the tune with a special charm. He sounded like a singer from Aqua Planet. No, it should be said that he sounded better than a singer. When Lin Rui hummed the tune, Lu Changtian's heart was filled with mixed feelings. He was very unhappy. However, what could he do? In the end, he could only swallow his anger. Just you wait. When I surpass you one day, I will definitely beat you to the ground and let you have a good beating. I will let you experience what I am feeling right now. If Lin Rui knew what Lu Changtian was thinking, he would definitely sneer because what Lu Changtian said didn't exist at all. In terms of cultivation, Lu Changtian probably had no chance to catch up with Lin Rui in this lifetime. Even if Lu Changtian had the fire dragon vein, in front of the Hongmeng sovereign bloodline, Lu Changtian's bloodline was trash. It wasn't even worthy of carrying the shoes of Lin Rui's bloodline. Thus, there was no way this was going to happen. At the same time, if Lin Li knew what Lu Changtian was thinking, then he would be in an extremely miserable state, so miserable that he would suspect that he had been born into this world. It wasn't a lie at all. At this moment, Lu Changtian already had this kind of feeling. With an exhausted body, he dragged big and small bags, as well as the delicious demon beasts that he had killed along the way, and followed behind Lin Rui. Especially his luxurious clothes, at this moment, had naturally become a stripper. Coupled with the big and small bags, he was undoubtedly a refugee. Sigh, how did I end up with such a master? Looking at Lin Rui, Lu Changtian was filled with regret. However, even if Lin Rui treated him like this, if he was given another chance, he would still choose to become Lin Rui's disciple. Not for anything else, but to become an expert, to become the strongest person. This was probably what all martial cultivators thought in their hearts, what they wanted to pursue in their lifetime. Tiandang Mountain, at the entrance of the Sword Sect, Wang Yun brought Long Huaner and the other two, and finally returned to the sect today without stopping to rest. Looking up, he looked at the two vigorous and powerful horizontal boards of the Sword Sect. His expression was filled with silence and seriousness. At the same time, his heart was filled with endless worries. Almost 2 months had passed, so he still had 10 months left. What he needed to do now was to return to the sect and tell the sect master, Ling Jianzi, about this matter. Although he understood that even if he told Ling Jianzi that Lin Rui wanted to destroy the Sword Sect, he couldn't do anything about it. If he didn't understand Lin Rui's strength, of course, he would think that he was joking. However, Lin Rui's strength made him feel fear, boundless fear, as if his entire soul had fallen into a bottomless abyss with just a glance. Sigh, I hope this matter isn't as serious as I imagined it to be. If Lu Changtian were to make a move, it would still be possible. However, if Ruo Lin were to make a move, then... Thinking about this, Wang Yun frowned. Let's go. In a while, all of you will return to your respective residences. If I were to hear about what happened earlier from the other disciples, humph, all of you should know what the consequences are. After saying that, he ignored them and walked straight into the sect, toward the main hall at the apex. Along the way, when all the disciples saw Wang Yun, they all addressed him as elder. However, Wang Yun didn't seem to hear the disciples' respectful titles. At this moment, how could he be in the mood to care about these things? Right now, the only thing he was thinking about was whether Lin Rui would really come at the end of the year, and whether his Sword Sect would really be destroyed like what they said. Although all of this was still unknown, it was still necessary to nip the problem in the bud. Wang Yun's speed was very fast, so fast that he flashed past and finally arrived before the main hall. Standing at the entrance and feeling the tense atmosphere in the main hall, Wang Yun was taken aback. He revealed a solemn expression. What's going on? Why are all the elders back? Shouldn't they be recruiting disciples now? Why are they all back? Could it be because of Lin Rui's matter? Thinking of this possibility, he immediately shook his head and threw away this thought. No, they don't know about Lin Rui's matter at all. So why, forget it. Let's go in first. Wang Yun said, shaking his head, throwing the troublesome matter to the back of his mind, and walked into the main hall randomly. Junior brother Wang Yun? Why are you back? At this moment, Wang Yun's appearance in the main hall attracted everyone's attention. There were doubts and doubts. Sect leader, perhaps this time, our Sword Sect is in big trouble. After hearing this sentence, everyone in the hall was taken aback and their expressions turned solemn. You know about it? Wang Yun, who was walking, was stunned when he heard this sentence that came out of nowhere. He stopped moving forward and looked at Ling Jianzi in confusion. What did senior brother sect leader say? Wang Yun asked subconsciously. You. Wang Yun's question, coupled with his stunned expression just now, stunned Ling Jianzi. He began to suspect that Wang Yun didn't know what happened at all. But the problem was, if Wang Yun didn't know, then what did he mean just now? The Sword Sect was finished. He didn't say what he was thinking. He looked up at Wang Yun and said, the Yun Nation's Peace Heaven Sect said that they want to have a competition with our Sword Sect, but, Peace Heaven Sect? At this moment, Wang Yun knew that the conversation he had just had was completely wrong. It was completely wrong. However, there was a problem now. The Yun Nation's Peace Heaven Sect had been coveting the Sword Sect's 10,000 army sword for hundreds of years. However, they had always needed the Sword Sect to be strong. So why was it like this now? Seeing that Wang Yun was silent, Ling Jianzi spoke again. This time, their wager is the 10,000 army sword. However, I heard that they found an omnipotent expert from somewhere. So, if we agree, I'm afraid that this time, we will be doomed. If we don't agree, our sect's reputation will be ruined because we don't dare to accept the challenge. I have discussed with my junior brothers. This time, no matter what, the sect's reputation is the most important. So, we will fight. I am the same as senior brother sect leader. I choose to fight. Otherwise, you rascals will probably go to heaven. The 6 elders, except for Wang Yun, spoke in unison. Their expressions were filled with anger. In the sword sect, the elders did not submit to anyone. However, when the sword sect encountered difficulties, they would turn their spearheads to the external enemy. Wasn't there an old saying? I can hit you because we are on the same side. There is no problem with small fights. However, others can't hit you. Seeing that the elders and the sword sect leader were so united, Wang Yun revealed a smile. However, this smile was uglier than crying. Senior brother sect leader, let's put aside the matter of the Peace Heaven sect first. Now, a more troublesome matter has appeared. Moreover, it is very likely that our sword sect will be destroyed because of this matter. What? Upon hearing Wang Yun's words, everyone was shocked. However, some people were still skeptical because in their opinion, the strength of the sword sect had already made the principality tremble. Even the neighboring Peace Heaven sect did not dare to confront them head-on. Looking at everyone's current appearance, Wang Yun had already guessed it. Yes, this is not a joke. It is true. Moreover what? Ling Jianzi asked subconsciously. Moreover, we still have 10 months. If we don't think of a countermeasure within 10 months, we will be destroyed. Believe me, this is not an exaggeration at all. If you see that person's methods and cultivation base, you will definitely understand that what I'm saying now is not an exaggeration at all. Everyone knew Wang Yun very well. He was an upright person who never lied. Moreover, his personality was flexible and changeable. Now that he was acting like this, it meant that this matter might be true. However, who was the person that Wang Yun was talking about? Why was he so powerful? Why had they never heard of him before? Questions appeared in everyone's minds one after another. They were puzzled. The sect did not seem to have offended such a person. Why? Wang Yun, who was standing at the side, looked at Ling Jianzi as if he knew what he was thinking at the moment. The main reason for this matter is Huangfu from the secular world, Huangfu Jing. I don't know how she offended that lord. It's also because of her that lord has a grudge against our sword sect. However, fortunately, there are still 10 months, and the person who will take action is only that lord's disciple, Lu Changtian. I hope that Lu Changtian's cultivation base won't increase too quickly within a year. Otherwise, our sword sect might really be destroyed. Of course, it's the same. That lord shouldn't take action. Otherwise, even if all of us attack together, I'm afraid we won't be a match for that lord. Hiss, upon hearing Wang Yun's praise for that mysterious person, everyone could not help but gasp with shock on their faces. Are you kidding? Since when did the Yen country have such a powerhouse? Why didn't our sword sect's information network send back any information? Someone at the side said. He was the contract demon in charge of law enforcement. Don't make wild guesses. The most important thing now is what to do 10 months later. If we just wait like this, then, is there no other way? That lord must destroy our sword sect? Ling Jianzi said, his expression full of unwillingness. Yes. Wang Yun nodded. I also begged that lord back then, but it seemed to be useless. I can see that lord has the intention to kill us. At this moment, everyone in the hall was silent. There was not a single sound in the huge hall. At this moment, one could probably hear a pin drop on the ground. It was not an exaggeration at all. At this moment, the hall was dead silent. No one knew how long this silence had lasted, and it was broken by Ling Jianzi. Alright, don't think about it anymore. We'll deal with whatever comes our way. At most. After a moment of silence, he paused for a moment before speaking again. At most, we'll move the sect. After all, the sect's disciples are the foundation of the sect. As long as the disciples are safe and sound, the sect will still exist. What? Everyone exclaimed. Their expressions were filled with disbelief. Moving the sect was not an easy matter. Furthermore, the sword sect had stood here for thousands of years. Now, they were moving just like that. How could they be willing to do so? This was not only the sect, but also the place where they relied on for survival. Some people were even born here. Asking them to leave was equivalent to killing them. Is there no other way? Do we have to move? Wang Yun said. His voice was filled with sorrow. As the saying goes, men don't cry easily. It's only when one is deeply hurt. At this moment, tears appeared in Wang Yun's eyes. Yes, senior brother sect master. Please think of a way. This is our home. Moving is too big a matter. Yes, senior brother sect master. After one of them spoke, the other elders also spoke one after another. They all expressed that they did not want to leave. You all. Looking at these companions and brothers who had accompanied him for a long time, Ling Jianzi did not know what to say. As the sect master, he must take care of everything. Now that they were facing a great enemy, there was only one way to move the sect. If what Wang Yun said was true, and that person was so powerful, this method was the best. There was no other way. Chapter 1021. Divine Valley. After walking for 5 days, Lin Rui and Lu Shisui arrived at the middle of the Divine Valley. Of course, this was only Lin Rui's guess. However, according to Lin Rui's speed, he should have reached the bottom of the valley by now. However, because of Lu Changtian, the distance they had to travel was greatly reduced. Lin Rui felt very helpless about this. However, this was still acceptable. After all, after cultivating for a period of time, his cultivation had reached the late stage of foundation establishment. Although it was still extremely weak, it was already very good in this place where spiritual energy was lacking. During this period of time, Lin Rui had a general idea about the Divine Valley. After all, Lin Rui had heard about the Divine Valley on the map before. He was very familiar with this place. Now that he had truly entered the Divine Valley, he felt that the Divine Valley was not as terrifying as the rumors and maps described. If someone who understood formations was here, they would be able to tell that the Divine Valley was a natural formation created by the heavens and earth. Although it was not particularly powerful, at the very least, it would not be easy for someone from the Destiny realm to break it. Conservatively speaking, if one wanted to break this natural formation, their cultivation would have to be at least at the martial god realm in the Destiny realm. Buzz. A buzzing sound that sounded like a vibration sounded in Lin Rui's ears. Something strange happened and Lin Rui stopped moving forward. Why is there such a sound? In the Divine Valley, Lin Rui had no choice but to be careful. He had not completely recovered his cultivation yet. Although Lin Rui was not afraid of the formations here, the price he would have to pay to break them was enormous. After reaching the Foundation Establishment realm, Lin Rui had already opened his divine sense. He closed his eyes and released his divine sense. Everyone, everything, and everything within 1,000 meters appeared in Lin Rui's mind. Looking at the images in his mind, he did not see anything strange. His brows furrowed and his expression turned ugly. What exactly is it? Even I can't detect it. Could it be that the area covered by my consciousness is not large enough? This was very likely. After all, his current spiritual sense could only cover a range of 6,000 meters. If it was at his peak, Lin Rei would have been able to see through the entire heaven's will. Forget it, I'll just deal with whatever comes my way. Unable to figure it out, Lin Rei ultimately chose to give up and let nature take its course. After all, his cultivation had yet to recover, so he had to be careful. What's wrong, master? At this time, Lu Changtian caught up with Lin Rei with bags of various sizes. When he arrived at the room, Lu Changtian stopped and froze in place. Lu Changtian hurriedly went forward and asked. You caught up? After being woken up by Lu Changtian, he recovered his senses and turned his head. When he saw Lu Changtian, a smile appeared on his face, and the haze from before was swept away. Lu Changtian, looking at his master, Lu Changtian sometimes really wanted to beat him to the ground and ruthlessly torture him. Unfortunately, he was no match for Lin Rei. In the end, this kind of thought could only become an extravagant hope. Since you're here, hurry up and roast the meat for me. Can't you see that your master is still hungry? Humph, what an unfilial disciple. Lin Rei himself didn't know why, but he liked to tease Lu Changtian whenever he saw him. He wanted to refute, but when he thought of how terrifying Lin Rei was, the final result was to compromise. I understand. Don't worry, I'll definitely cook it for you. Without saying anything, he silently walked to an open space and started a fire skillfully. At this moment, he saw that Lu Changtian had been cooking a lot during this period of time. Lin Rei was very satisfied with Lu Changtian. After all, he chose it himself. Even if he regretted it, it was useless. Moreover, the other party was still a little bit outstanding. Buzz. Suddenly, the sound he heard before rang out. At this moment, Lin Rei was very sure that this sound really existed. Moreover, it seemed that only he could hear it because Lu Changtian was busy and didn't feel it at all. Just what is it? Why is it able to affect my Tao heart? Lin Rei was very interested in the origin of that mysterious sound. He could clearly feel that the moment the mysterious sound rang out, his originally calm heart seemed to be affected by that sound and started beating non-stop. As a former sage, Lin Rei was very clear about his Tao heart. Although it wasn't as firm as a rock, it wasn't the kind of Tao heart that would be affected by random things or sounds. The first time the sound rang out, Lin Rei might have thought it was an accident. But now, when the sound rang out a second time, he still had the same feeling. He knew that it wasn't a coincidence. It was real. There really was something in the Divine Valley. Moreover, this thing could affect his Tao heart. Everyone was curious, especially Lin Rei. His curiosity was off the charts. He wanted to see just what it was that could cause his Tao heart to tremble. Thinking about that, he turned his head and said, "Brat, you stay here and wait. I'll go ahead and take a look. Remember, if you encounter something powerful and you can't do anything about it, use the secret technique I taught you to escape." Although this method is very shameful, and although there are powerful demon beasts here, there's no other way. If it wasn't for me, your cultivation would at most reach here. As for the rest of the journey, remember, don't try it. Otherwise, even if I wanted to save you, it would be too late. You. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Lu Changtian wanted to refute. But when he saw the concern in Lin Rei's eyes, his rebuttal disappeared. Don't worry, I know what to do. In the end, Lu Changtian let out a long sigh and nodded. As for you, don't try to be brave. Remember, you're not alone. You brought someone with you. Although his words were a bit strange, he could feel the concern in them. I know. However, don't think that saying this will stop you from cooking. I'm just going out for a while. I'll be back soon. If you don't see me cook before I come back, your cultivation will be doubled. You. The words of concern for Lin Rei came to an abrupt stop. His expression became extremely ugly. However, Lin Rei didn't care about it at all. Looking at Lu Changtian's fierce gaze, Lin Rei smiled. He didn't say anything and turned to walk deeper into the valley. All that was left for Lu Changtian was his back. Looking at that back, he didn't have his usual imposing manner. Lu Changtian only felt loneliness. Be careful. Looking at that back, perhaps even Lu Changtian himself didn't know that in these 2 months, he had already acknowledged Lin Rei's identity. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like this. As for what Lu Changtian was thinking, Lin Li didn't know. All he knew was that he had to raise Lu Changtian into an expert who could stand above all others, an expert who could stand on his own. After leaving Lu Changtian, Lin Rei walked alone into the depths of the Divine Valley. However, at this moment, Lin Rei was a bit strange. With every step, Lin Rei would stop, close his eyes, and release his consciousness before leaving. However, what disappointed Lin Rei was that he still couldn't accurately sense the existence of that thing. Where is it? Standing in place, his face was filled with confusion and worry. He was confused because he didn't know where to go to find the thing that puzzled him. As for his worry, of course, it was because of Lu Changtian. It was undeniable that Lu Changtian's cultivation had improved a lot during this period of time. However, when he came here, he discovered that the cultivation of the demonic beasts here was very strong. It was fine before the middle level, but once they surpassed the middle level or entered the middle level, with Lu Changtian's current cultivation, it was like hitting a rock with an egg. They couldn't withstand a single blow. As for Lu Changtian, he didn't care if there was a problem with him. Although Lin Rei was no longer in the sage realm and wasn't the same person as before, his protective nature was indeed imprinted in his soul. Lin Rei's rule was that he could bully his people to the extent that others couldn't. If others dared to make a move, then Lin Rei would return the favor tenfold. This was Lin Rei, an extremely protective cultivator. The cultivators of the divine realm and the immortal realm were very clear about this. Buzz. At this moment, when Lin Rei was looking around, that sound appeared again. It was a vibrating sound. At this moment, Lin Rei could hear it even more clearly. It was as if that thing was right next to his ear. Damn it! What is it? Why can't I find it? He seriously felt the changes in his surroundings and operated his divine sense to the extreme. In the northwest, a trace of spiritual energy disorder flashed. Although the disorder was very weak, it was still discovered by Lin Rei. Bastard, I've finally found you. Just you wait. When I find you, I'll have to see just what it is that can affect my Tao heart, he said viciously. Then, he rolled up his sleeves and looked like he was about to go all out. With a leap, he instantly arrived at the place where the spiritual energy disorder was. An illusion array? Carefully feeling the changes in front, Lin Rei felt a trace of the aura of an array. As expected, a confident smile flashed across Lin Rei's face. He was sure that the place where the spiritual energy disorder was in front of him was the existence of an array. However, looking at the strength of the array, it was at most a heaven-rank array. Such a weak array, in front of a person who had cultivated the array to the saint realm, was like a preset array. It didn't matter whether it existed or not. Come, let me see what you are hiding in your heart. He raised his hand and mysterious runes flashed. A paragraph of bitter and difficult to understand incantation appeared in Lin Rei's mouth. Then, he waved his hand at the place where the spiritual energy disorder was. Break. Boom. A muffled sound echoed. The scenery and the surrounding scene disappeared and was replaced by a cave. The entrance was full of weeds, as if no one had come to this cave for a long time. The appearance of this scene was clearly beyond Lin Rei's imagination. He didn't expect this scene at all. You are here. Just as Lin Rei frowned and thought about whether to enter to investigate, a man's voice flashed in Lin Rei's mind. While he was stunned, he asked, "Who are you? Why did you make my Dao heart tremble?" Lin Rei was very curious about this. Moreover, from the voice just now, that person seemed to know him and had been waiting for him. Lin Rei, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Come in, you will know who I am after you come in. The voice sounded again. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Rei finally couldn't resist the curiosity in his heart and the throbbing in his heart. He clearly felt that his heart had made the right choice to let him in. I want to see what kind of thing you are. With that, Lin Rei took a step forward and his figure disappeared into the cave. At the entrance to the cave, Lin Li cast his gaze over. What he saw was a long, pitch-black tunnel. Phew, a gust of wind blew by. The wind was filled with the smell of blood and rotten things that made Lin Rei want to vomit. It was very unpleasant. Frowning, the curiosity on his face disappeared and was replaced with caution. The smell of blood here meant that this path was not simple. Interesting. The corner of his lips curled up and an evil smile appeared. He walked forward. However, Lin Rei was very cautious right now. After all, his cultivation was not as good as before. He was only at the foundational level. He had to be careful. After walking for a while, a beast-like roar came from the front. As expected, Lin Rei wasn't surprised by this roar at all. After all, he had just arrived. Clang! The sound of a sword rang. Unknowingly, a meter-long sword appeared in Lin Rei's hand. Lin Rei manipulated his cultivation to the extreme. Myriad sword technique, one sword to break all techniques. The myriad sword technique was activated by Lin Rei. The moment a beast appears, the myriad sword technique will rush out and kill the beast. After doing all this, Lin Rei walked forward without worry. At this time, deep inside the cave, a very spacious and grand cave appeared. At the top of the cave, an altar-like existence appeared. On top of the altar, a long spear with 9 dragons carved on it was inserted into the ground. What was surprising was that around the long spear, there were 9 iron chains as thick as an adult's arm that pinned it to the ground. If someone saw this scene, the first thing they would think was that this long spear was not simple. Or else it wouldn't have been sealed here. Master, hurry up and come. A middle-aged man's voice rang in the spacious hall. His voice was full of excitement as if he had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Don't worry. Since Master is here, he won't be far from us. Yes, second brother. Master is a heaven-blessed expert. His cultivation has even broken through to the sage realm. Although I don't know why his cultivation has become weak now, don't forget how powerful he was before. Yes, I agree. Master's strength is not something we can imagine. At this moment, many different voices rang out. If Lin Li was here, he would definitely recognize that this long spear was none other than the Chaos Dragon Spear. As for the person who spoke, there was no need to think to know that it was the 9 dragons sealed in the long spear. However, when Ruo Lin Lei saw the dragon spear, he would be even more shocked. At the same time, he would be puzzled. He appeared out of nowhere and didn't find any clues. Now that the dragon spear appeared, it was obvious that this was not a coincidence. It was as if it was arranged in advance. Chapter 1022. Lin Rei had no idea about all of this. Of course, even if he knew, he wouldn't care. He believed in his own strength and luck. Cultivators were meant to fight with people, the earth, and the heavens. It was a joy to say that cultivators relied on their own efforts to reach a high level. That was pure nonsense. If a cultivator wanted to reach a high level, other than their own efforts, they also needed luck. Without luck, no matter how good one's talent was, it would be nothing more than a dream. Oh! The roar of the beast was getting closer and closer. From the sound, Lin Rei could tell that this beast's cultivation was very strong. Even with his current strength, he couldn't handle it. At this moment, Lin Rei let out a sigh of relief. For some reason, his heart calmed down. Clearly, not letting Lu Zhongtian follow him was the right decision. If he had followed him, based on the aura of the demonic beasts in front of him, Lin Li would have had a hard time dealing with him. If he brought along Lu Changtian, without a doubt, Lu Changtian would become a burden to Lin Rei. And Lin Rei would worry about Lu Changtian and lose the initiative. If such a strange discovery really happened, then in the end, not to mention entering the deepest part of the cave, even wanting to leave this place would be extremely difficult. Looks like I have to give it my all this time. Looking ahead, Lin Rei's face didn't have a trace of relief. There was only endless worry and excitement. The battle intent in his body soared to the sky. Although he was a little worried, as a former powerhouse, Lin Rei had his own dignity. In front of such an ant-like beast, he couldn't be timid. If it was in the past, not to mention a solemn expression, a single finger would be enough to crush the other party to death. Moreover, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. Unfortunately, the current him wasn't as strong as he was in the past. However, the arrogance of a strong cultivator still remained. The 10,000 sword arts was activated to the extreme. It contained 3 feet of cold light, and his divine sense was released to the extreme. If it wasn't for Lin Rei's powerful divine sense, there would only be one result for him to use his divine sense to such an extent at such a low level. That would be his divine sense collapsing to the extreme. If that really happened, Ying and the others in the realm of the gods would probably go crazy. However, the ones who wanted to go crazy the most were the system and the little dragon. After all, this was their masterpiece. If Lin Rei's divine sense collapses because of this, then, the system and the little dragon would probably go crazy. If a person's divine sense collapsed, although it could be repaired, the things needed to repair it were astronomical. It could even be said that it was very lucky to find one of the things needed. Moreover, the most important point was that the divine soul had to be repaired within 6 hours of the divine soul's collapse. After 6 hours, even the god of creation would not be able to do it. Moreover, it was not certain whether there was a god of creation in this world. Found it. Just as Lin Rei's divine sense was on the verge of collapsing, finally, not far ahead, the figure of a Gorfine dragon with 2 meatballs on its head fell into Lin Rei's divine sense. Damn it, is this still the age of chaos? How could something like a Gorfine dragon appear here? Looking at the Gorfine dragon, Lin Rei had the urge to die. The Gorfine dragon was a creature born from heaven and earth, but it was a very terrifying existence. It was even listed as a species that must die once it appeared. It was because the Gorfine dragon was too powerful. It was so powerful that it made people despair. In the divine world, Lin Rei had read a legend in the Danzong Sect's library. The main character of the legend was the Gorfine dragon in front of him. It was said that the 4 Hunyuan heavenly saints had fought the Gorfine dragon. That battle was so terrifying that it almost destroyed the surrounding realms. In that battle, 3 died and 1 was seriously injured. Even so, they only managed to seal the Gorfine dragon in the end. It was said that the last Hunyuan heavenly saint, who was seriously injured, died in less than 10,000 years. This matter was a reminder to the people of the divine world. Once the Gorfine dragon appeared, it must be killed. It didn't matter if the other party was young or not. Although this would implicate some innocent people, no one wanted the same thing to happen again. They couldn't bear the consequences, and they couldn't bear the disaster that this matter would bring. Now, Lin Rei was a little dumbfounded. Looking at the Gorfine dragon in front of him, Lin Rei had a headache. However, he was also very excited. In his opinion, it was the honor of his life to be able to fight with such an expert. One had to know that 3 Hunyuan heavenly saints couldn't kill it. However, looking at the Gorfine dragon in front of him, it was very obvious that it hadn't reached adulthood yet. It was still in the state of a cub. Lin Rei was a little relieved. F***ck, what's going on? Shouldn't this thing only exist in the divine world? Lin Rei couldn't understand why the Gorfine dragon would appear here. F***ck, forget it. I don't want to think about it anymore. Who cares? Do what you want. Shaking his head, he threw the doubts and worries in his heart to the back of his mind. His battle intent rose again, reaching a peak. Lin Rei looked as if he wanted to give it a try. It was as if he wanted to rush up and fight at any time. A woo, a bestial roar sounded, as if it had sensed Lin Rei's provocation. The roar was mixed with a powerful king's pressure. Humph, the Gorfine dragon's pressure surged like a raging tide. As a foundation establishment cultivator, Lin Rei was instantly locked on by the pressure. He groaned, and a trace of scarlet blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. F***ck, are you messing with me? Feeling his internal organs churning, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. Just a mere pressure made him bleed. If the Gorfine dragon directly attacked, he didn't know what would happen to him. Looking straight ahead, Lin Rei suddenly had 2 choices in his heart. The first was to leave. Leave this dangerous and uncertain place. The second was to stay and fight with the Gorfine dragon. If he killed the Gorfine dragon and ate its gallbladder, he might not be able to recover, but he would at least be able to recover 1/3 of his strength. The moment the 2 choices appeared, Lin Rei was tormented. He had a headache. Between the 2 choices, it was obvious that Lin Rei preferred the latter. However, when he thought of the opponent's strength, he began to have a difficult choice. What should I do? Whoosh! In front of Lin Rei, where the Gorfine dragon was, it had already noticed Lin Rei. As a carnivore, Lin Rei was undoubtedly the most delicious food. Moreover, it had been here for so many years. There were too few demonic beasts and meat that could enter the cave. It had been 100 years. It had not eaten a real meat in 100 years. Now that it saw a meat, how could it give up? Its figure flashed for a moment, and in the next moment, it moved. Its long body was like a sharp arrow, disappearing in an instant. When the Gorfine dragon appeared again, it was already in front of Lin Rei. Its huge body did not hinder the Gorfine dragon's agility at all. All of this happened in an instant. What, you, bang! Pfff. Lin Rei's divine sense was very sharp. However, when the Gorfine dragon disappeared, Lin Rei did not react. Instead, when the Gorfine dragon appeared in front of him and swung its tail, Lin Rei reacted. However, it was already too late. The moment the Gorfine dragon's tail swung onto Lin Rei's body, Lin Rei suddenly felt as if 2 mountains were squeezing him in the middle. His internal organs were shaken by this sudden impact, and his internal organs were instantly displaced. A mouthful of old blood spurted out, and his complexion instantly paled. His entire body became dispirited, and he was in an extremely miserable state. Bang! Bang! Lin Rei's figure was sent flying. He crashed into the stone wall 100 meters away, and only then did he come to a stop. Just like that, the stone wall that Lin Rei crashed into also shattered into pieces. A deep hole appeared. The cracks around the deep hole were like spider webs, densely covering the entire place. Pfff. Another mouthful of old blood spurted out, and his face became even paler. The pain in his chest caused Lin Rei to be exceptionally spirited at this moment. Ni. Motherf ***ker. Lying on the ground and feeling the pain in his inner palace, Lin Rei was stunned. He did not expect the Gorfine dragon to suddenly attack. However, what surprised him even more was that he was actually injured, and in such a miserable state. Much, cough, how many years has it been? How many years has it been since someone was able to injure me like this? This feeling is very, very nostalgic. At this moment, Lin Rei's words were very similar to that of a masochist. If someone who did not know the situation heard it, they would probably think that Lin Rei was beaten silly. However, those who knew Lin Rei would definitely understand what he meant. He raised his head and looked at the bronze bell-sized blood-red eyes in front of him. A cold light burst out from the blood-red eyes, and he felt as if his divine soul was being frozen. Gorfine dragon, it is indeed powerful. Previously, he thought that the Gorfine dragon was at most exaggerated by the people in the book. But now, right now, he wanted to correct them. The Gorfine dragon was indeed very powerful. At least, he thought that the Gorfine dragon was very powerful. Right now, it was still in the state of a cub. Once it matured and fully grew up, how powerful would it be? If the fully grown Gorfine dragon encountered him at his peak, who would be the loser? At this moment, when Lin Rei thought of this question, he really wanted to give it a try. However, he understood that this was just an extravagant hope. With his current strength, not to mention finding his previous body, Lin Rei would thank the heavens if he could break through the void and leave this place. Hiss, when he got up, the wound on his chest was affected. He sucked in a mouthful of cold air, and his face became even paler. Awu, on the opposite side of Lin Rei, the Gorfine dragon was furious when it saw that the human it had sent flying could still stand up. It felt that its dignity had been despised and provoked. It couldn't stand it. It had been many years since it had been provoked and despised by a human. What's wrong? Are you angry? Looking at the Gorfine dragon's shocking roar, Lin Rei grinned and said, "You only have this little ability, and you want to kill the Emperor in one move? Do you think it is possible? Even when you are an adult, I'm afraid you can't defeat the Emperor in one move. What's more, you are just a cub now." Awu, hearing Lin Rei's words, the Gorfine dragon, who already had the intelligence of a 5- or 6-year-old child, was even more furious. What's the use of roaring? If you have the ability, let me in. As long as you let me in, I will show you the true strength of the Emperor. How about it? Lin Rei was gambling. He bet that the Gorfine dragon would be fooled. After all, demonic beasts valued their dignity very much, so, Awu, his bell-sized eyes stared at Linley, a savage light flashing in his eyes. It was as though he was mocking Linley, as though he was saying, "You think you can defeat me if I let you in?" Seeing this, Lin Rei smiled. He felt that he had made the right bet. What? Do you dare? If you don't dare, I will leave now. As for your reputation, as he spoke, Lin Rei turned around and made a gesture that said, "If you don't dare, I will leave." It was very funny. Awu, just as Lin Rei turned around, the Gorfine dragon roared. The Gorfine dragon's huge body moved to the side, making a path that only Lin Rei could pass through. The huge Gorfine dragon nodded toward the depths of the cave as if to say, "Go in. I will wait here for you to come back and fight with me. When the time comes, I will eat you up." Lin Rei smiled. He didn't expect the Gorfine dragon to be so gullible. Of course, there was a tricky problem. He could go in, but what if there was nothing he wanted inside? If there was nothing that could increase his combat strength, the final result would be the same. That was, to be eaten. However, a chance was better than nothing. Looking at the path that the Gorfine dragon made, Lin Rei's face turned serious. He stepped forward and walked in. Indeed, with the protection of the Goreworm, they encountered many monstrous beasts on the way. However, upon sensing the Goreworm behind Linley's back, all of them cowered away, no longer bothering with Linley. Lin Rei smiled at this. He just wanted to ask for a chance, but he didn't expect to get a bodyguard in the end. Along the way, Lin Rei didn't encounter any difficulties. Finally, he reached the end of the cave. Phew, I'm finally here. Looking at the cave door in front of him, a line of text appeared. Seeing those words, Lin Li pursed his lips and began to laugh. I traverse the 4 seas, stand above the 9 heavens. With a spear in hand, the world is mine. Damn, where did this idiot come from? How dare he say such shameless words? If this was the realm of the gods, the person who wrote this sentence would probably be caught and whipped by the people of the Holy Lands. Thinking about it, it was really possible. Even in this aspect, he wouldn't dare to say such shameless words. Laughing was one thing, but he still had to go in. He wanted to see what was hidden behind this door. Patter. Placing both hands on both sides of the door, he exerted force in his arms and released his foundation establishment stage cultivation. Open for me. Suddenly, a fierce aura was released from Lin Rei's body, and the originally closed door was pushed open. Ka 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 ka, a sound like a mechanism was activated. The originally closed door that seemed to be made of gold, stone, and iron cracked open. So King heavy. Both of his arms were throbbing with pain. Lin Li couldn't help but curse, then continue. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Finally, the door was completely pushed open. Pang! A muffled sound rang out, filling the entire cave. Raising his head, he looked at the scene behind the door with a curious gaze. In the next moment, the smile on his face froze. In his mind, he remembered what he said when he saw the words on the door. Who is so shameless? This sentence was like a demon's voice lingering in Lin Rei's mind. It was as if it was engraved in his mind. Chapter 1023. Chaos, Dragon Spear. Looking at the long spear in front of him that was surrounded by 9 azure dragons, Lin Li was stunned. His entire body was in a daze. One had to know that the Chaos Dragon Spear was the weapon that his predecessor had always used. He would never have thought that the weapon used by his predecessor would appear here, and in such a manner. We soul beasts pay our respects to Master. Just as Lin Rei was in a daze, the 9 dragons rushed out of the Chaos Dragon Spear and knelt down in front of Lin Rei in the air. The scene was very shocking. How is this possible? At this moment, the blood-horn dragon, who was standing behind Lin Rei, looked at the scene in front of him with a funny expression. He was no longer as calm as before and was completely dumbfounded. He had never seen a dragon before but had heard of it. The Bloodhorn Dragon clan had inherited memories and was very familiar with the Dragon clan. After seeing the 9 dragons, he immediately recognized them. When the Untainted Land was first created, the ancestors of the Dragon clan were the Azure Dragons. However, the memories in his mind told him that there were only 4 Azure Dragons at that time. But now, what the hell was going on? 9 dragons. What the hell was going on? He wanted to drag his ancestors out of the 9 underworlds and let them tell him what was going on. All of you, get up. Looking at the 9 dragons kneeling in front of him in the air, Lin Rei hurriedly waved his hand to get them to get up. Yes, we accept your order. The 9 dragons got up and saw that Lin Rei and the rest were very excited. After being trapped here for so long, they were finally going to get out. How could they not be excited? Master, you came at the right time. We have been trapped here for so many years. Do you think it's easy to get that iron chain for us to get out? Yes, Master. We have been here for so long that we are almost useless. Master, hurry up. We really can't stand it here. There is nothing here. I am starting to miss the time when I accompanied Master to conquer the world. At this moment, the 9 Azure Dragons were chattering like children. Looking at them, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. He remembered that the 9 azure dragons were not like this back then. Why did they talk so much after not seeing them for a while? However, Lin Rei wasn't interested in them. He lowered his head to look at the metal chain that was wrapped around the chaotic dragon spear and frowned. Who sealed the dragon spear here? And with your strength, don't you know how to resist? He knew how powerful the 9 dragons were. Even the blood Qilin was no match for them. Now, they were being sealed. He couldn't figure it out. Also, how did you get here? I remember that I didn't bring anything with me when I left. One question after another was asked. Suddenly, the 9 azure dragons in the sky were stunned. It even sounded a little disgusting. F***ck, I'm done. I'm done. Lin Rei stopped chanting. He turned around and was about to leave. He really couldn't stand these old things anymore. As the saying went, enough was enough. But now, they were simply intolerable. Ugh. Dedaunt, master. We won't talk about it anymore. Lin Rei turned around and left. The 9 azure dragons were completely flustered. They hurriedly promised. Lin Rei, who didn't want to leave in the first place, stopped and turned around to look at the azure dragons. Are you sure? If you do what you did just now again, don't talk about saving you. You can stay here forever. Anyway, the sage probably won't keep using weapons. Dedaunt dare. This time, the 9 azure dragons were afraid. If they really didn't save them like Lin Rei said, they would have to stay here forever. This wasn't what they wanted. Yes, remember what you said. After saying that, Lin Rei returned to his original position and chanted the spell again. Kacha, kacha, this time, Lin Rei increased the speed. The chains broke one by one. The azure dragons in the sky were filled with excitement. However, they didn't dare to make a sound. How is this possible? Who is this person? Why would a dragon recognize a person as their master? And, such a weakling. In the eyes of the Gorfine dragon, Lin Rei was a weakling. Moreover, he was an extremely weak weakling. F***ck, if the azure dragons are saved, then will I still be a match for this person? After thinking through this question, killing intent burst out from his eyes. His figure moved and disappeared. Bastard! Lin Rei, who was removing the seal, felt the killing intent behind him. Lin Rei's heart shook helplessly. Lin Rei really didn't dare to compliment the Gorfine dragon's reputation. He didn't expect the Gorfine dragon to sneak attack him from behind. Whoa, ant-like existence, you actually dare to sneak attack my master when he is removing the seal for us. This sovereign will cripple you. Just as Lin Rei couldn't react, one of the azure dragons moved. It charged at the Gorfine dragon with anger. Bastard! Seeing the azure dragon charging down, the Gorfine dragon, who was still in his infant state, panicked. The inheritance in his mind made him understand how powerful the azure dragon was. Most importantly, the dragon race's bloodline was specialized in restraining the Gorfine dragon race. The Gorfine dragon had subconsciously lost to this azure dragon who had lived for who knows how long. Scram! My master is not someone you can touch. The azure dragon charged in front of the Gorfine dragon. Without saying anything, it used a divine dragon tail whip. The speed was so fast that the Gorfine dragon felt despair. With a muffled bang, the Gorfine dragon was sent flying by the tail whip just like Lin Rei. A whoa, a roar came from the Gorfine dragon's mouth. From the roar, one could tell that the Gorfine dragon was in great pain. Furthermore, at the place where the Gorfine dragon was attacked, the original protective scales were shattered. Blood spurted out like a small spring. Humph! Ant, you actually dare to be arrogant in front of this exalted. Back then, your Gorfine dragon ancestor didn't even dare to fart in front of this exalted. You, on the other hand, actually dared to attack. Tell me, should I say that you're arrogant and conceited? Or should I say that you're courting death? Unfortunately, one could tell that the Azure Dragon was serious. One could tell from the disdain in his eyes. Woo! In the distance, the Gorfine dragon who was lying on the ground was filled with anger. He was unconvinced. He wanted nothing more than to rush up and swallow Lin Rei whole. Whoosh, he moved. With unwillingness, anger, and the dignity of their Gorfine dragon race, the Gorfine dragon soared into the sky. He knew that he was no match for the Azure Dragon. However, he wanted to fight for his dignity. Heh, not bad. You have guts. Seeing that the Gorfine dragon was not afraid of death, the disdain in the Azure Dragon's eyes disappeared. It was replaced with seriousness and respect. Looking at the Gorfine dragon, the Azure Dragon said, "Are you sure you want to do such a foolish thing?" Woo, the Azure Dragon's words caused the Gorfine dragon to stop. He roared a few times as if saying, "Even if I can't defeat you, I still want to fight. I want to fight for my dignity. I want to fight for the dignity and honor of my Gorfine dragon race." Heh, very well. Since that's the case, this exalted will fulfill your wish. Without saying anything more, the Azure Dragon's figure disappeared like a sharp sword. Bastard, where did he go? The Azure Dragon's disappearance undoubtedly caused the Gorfine dragon to feel extremely uneasy. With a frightened expression, the Gorfine dragon scanned his surroundings. He activated his spiritual awareness. However, the result was not ideal. Secretly, the Azure Dragon sensed the Gorfine dragon's spiritual awareness probing him. He sighed inwardly, "I never expected that this little thing's spiritual awareness would be this powerful." Looking at the Gorfine dragon, the Azure Dragon thought to himself, "What a pity. Although his aptitude is good, his bloodline is not that pure. Otherwise, I would be able to recover some of my cultivation by devouring him." Ever since he was thrown here for no reason, he found that his cultivation had plummeted from the original Sage realm to the current Heavenly Immortal realm. Now, he could only bully a little child. If the experts of the Divine Realm or the Immortal Realm knew about the 9 dragons' current state, they would probably rush over to snatch them. At that time, an unavoidable war of the century would unfold. The Dragon Clan was full of treasures. Even their divine soul was a rare existence. Moreover, these 9 dragons were the ancestors of the dragons, the Azure Dragon. Forget it. Let's finish this quickly and help Master recover his strength. After all, this is not the way to go in this age of chaos. Thinking about this, the Azure Dragon stopped hiding. His huge figure appeared in front of the Gorfine dragon. He opened his bloody mouth and bit down on the Gorfine dragon's vital point. Poochie, roar, the Gorfine dragon was 3 feet away from the Azure Dragon. The Gorfine dragon was like a small insect being held in the Azure Dragon's mouth. Blood flowed out, and his aura was weak. He looked very miserable. Lin Rei was clear about the scene behind him. However, he did not stop the Gorfine dragon. Thinking about how he was defeated by the Gorfine dragon, it was good to let him suffer a little. Crack, crack, the sound of 2 chains breaking could be heard. This was the last 2 chains. Finally, the Chaos Dragon Spear regained its freedom. Wang, a vibration came from the Chaos Dragon Spear. The 9 dragons felt that the seal on their bodies had been broken. At this moment, the 9 dragons could not help but roar to the sky. Rumble, Lin Rei understood the 9 dragons' feelings. However, he was also in a bad mood at this moment. One should know that the 9 dragons were very powerful. Now that the 9 dragons were chanting in unison, the power was not something a small cave could withstand. Previously, it was fine because of the existence of the array. But now? Now that the array was broken, the 9 dragons were completely released. The cave could no longer control the 9 dragons' cultivation. Raising his head, he saw that Flash was on the verge of collapse, as though it might collapse at any moment. Suddenly, Linley turned his head to look at the 9 dragons. "I'll give you 3 breaths of time. If I hear you make even the slightest sound, I don't mind resealing you. You should be aware of my strength. Although my cultivation base is no longer there, I can still easily set up formations." Silence, a deathly silence. The 9 dragons didn't dare to speak again. The excitement on their faces had completely disappeared at this moment, and it was replaced by fear. They knew Lin Rei's array skills very well. Just like what Lin Rei said, although his cultivation was not here, it was more than enough to seal them with an array. Roar, however, in the dead silence, the Gorfiend dragon's roar resounded throughout the hall. Lin Rei frowned slightly and turned to look. At this moment, the Gorfiend dragon was thrown to the ground by the Azure dragon. It was lying on the ground with blood flowing out from its 7 inches. It looked very miserable. Looking at the Gorfiend dragon, Lin Rei could not help but sympathize with it. Poor Gorfiend dragon. Lin Rei knew that his chance had come. He looked up and said, "Xuejiao, why don't we make a deal?" Xuejiao, who was originally filled with unwillingness, looked up at Lin Rei in confusion when he heard Lin Rei's words. His expression was filled with confusion and resentment. "What, deal? Become my subordinate, and I'll let you live," Lin Rei said directly without hiding anything. "Of course, this is just one of the benefits of becoming my subordinate. Aside from letting you live, I can also guarantee that your Blood Flood Dragon clan will reappear. Moreover, I heard that there is still one member of your Blood Flood Dragon clan alive. It's just that he seems to be suppressed in the Saints' world." "What? What did you say?" Xuejiao became excited. His unwillingness instantly disappeared and was replaced with shock and excitement. However, there was also disbelief. That was because this information didn't exist in his memories. "Looks like you still don't know." Seeing Xuejiao's stunned expression, Lin Rei understood that he still didn't know about the Heavenly Blood Flood Dragon being suppressed in the Saints' world. "You? What's going on?" Xuejiao asked. Lin Rei didn't try to hide the truth from Xuejiao. He looked at Xuejiao and told him about the major matter in the Saints' world. 10 minutes later, Lin Rei finally finished telling him about the matter. That's what happened. What happened back then was truly world-shaking. They almost destroyed the entire realm. However, unfortunately, that Blood Flood Dragon was suppressed in the end. 3 saints died and 1 was injured. Xuejiao fell silent when he heard Lin Rei's words. No one knew what he was thinking. So that's what happened. Xuejiao knew that his clan had a deep hatred. However, he didn't think that things would turn out like this. Sigh. Xuejiao let out a long sigh. His face was filled with helplessness. He thought about his current cultivation. His current cultivation speed was considered fast in a grand place like the Saints' world. Even so, he still had a very, very long way to go before he could reach the Saint realm. Xuejiao thought about his clan's revenge and his current situation. Perhaps Lin Rei's condition could be a solution. As soon as this thought appeared, Xuejiao's previous persistence collapsed. Xuejiao understood that he had lost. How about it? Do you want to consider it? Xuejiao's silence made Lin Rei a little impatient. Of course, you have to understand that with your current cultivation and the realm you're in, if you lack spiritual energy, do you think you can break through to the Saint realm? Oh, no, let's not leave the Saint realm for now. Even if you break through to the void in this world, how many years do you think it will take? I think you must want to avenge your clansmen. You even want to rescue the suppressed blood flood dragon, right? You, Shuejiao was shocked by Lin Rei. Putting aside the fact that he could enter the saint's world to rescue his clansmen, he believed that if he didn't agree, he would become a heavenly treasure for the person in front of him to increase his cultivation. He sighed and nodded heavily. Okay, I agree. I hope you can fulfill your promise to me. Then, he knelt on the ground and submitted. Blood Spirit Sky greets Master. In his sea of consciousness, Lin Rei breathed a sigh of relief when Blood Spirit Sky finally agreed. His face was full of smiles. Good. In that case, you will be Emperor's subordinate from now on. From today onwards, no one will dare to harm you. If anyone dares to harm you, Emperor will slaughter their entire clan. I will let them know that Emperor's people are not to be touched. Blood Spirit Sky, perfect ending. Ignoring Shuejiao's speechlessness, he focused on sensing his surroundings. He reached out and picked up the Chaos Dragon Spear that was still warm. He couldn't help but think of the scene when he first obtained the Chaos Dragon Spear. When he first obtained the Chaos Dragon Spear, he didn't know that it contained the souls of 9 Azure Dragons. Moreover, this bastard Chaos Dragon Spear's cultivation realm was extremely high. However, Lin Rei could sense that the Chaos Dragon Spear's level had probably dropped by several levels because of his cultivation. He thought about how he managed to raise his cultivation realm with great difficulty, but now, my heart aches just thinking about it. Master, you don't have to be like this. The drop in the Chaos Dragon Spear's level is only temporary. When you return to your original body, the Chaos Dragon Spear's level will be raised again. Is that so? Hearing Azure Dragon's promise, Lin Rei felt a lot more relieved. After all, it would be troublesome to raise the Chaos Dragon Spear's level temporarily. Master. Just as Lin Rei was deep in thought, a timid voice like that of a child rang out in his mind. This voice is... The sudden voice stunned Lin Rei. He turned his head and looked in the direction of the voice. Suddenly, the blood flood dragon appeared in front of Lin Rei. Its pitiful eyes gave Lin Rei a headache. Master, there's no need to look. It's my voice. Lin Rei was stunned. Xue Lingtian understood what Lin Rei was thinking and immediately said. Master, this isn't the only cave here. There's another cave below this one. However, the restriction formation in that cave is too strong. That's why I've never entered it before. However, I can sense the enormous amount of spiritual energy leaking out from that cave. I can sense that there are many heavenly treasures inside. Oh? Are you serious? Lin Rei was stunned by Xue Lingtian's words. If what Xue Lingtian said was true, he would like to check it out. Yes, I'm very serious. It's below this cave. However, I don't know how to set up a formation, so, after receiving confirmation, Lin Rei smiled. Xue Lingtian wasn't familiar with formations, but he did. As long as the formations in this world didn't exceed the 3rd grade of the sacred grade, he could handle them. Moreover, he didn't believe that he would encounter a formation above the 3rd grade of the sacred grade in this desolate place. As he thought about it, a glint flashed across his eyes. Lead the way. Perhaps I can break it. Are you sure? Xue Lingtian looked at Lin Rei suspiciously. However, seeing Lin Rei's confident look, Xue Lingtian wondered if this master of his really knew how to set up a formation. Just lead the way. Leave the rest to me. Xue Lingtian didn't refute. Instead, he twisted his huge body and walked towards the other side of the cave. Up ahead, Xue Lingtian was heading towards a stone wall. There was no path to go. When Lin Rei released his divine sense earlier, he didn't see the existence of a door. Kacha. Ka ka ka, a crisp sound rang out. What followed next caused Linley to be stupefied. The stone wall had disappeared, and in its place was an entrance to the cave. F*ck, there really is a door. Looking at the black hole in front of him, Lin Rei couldn't remain calm. Although his cultivation wasn't the same as before, and his divine sense was even weaker, he couldn't figure out why his divine sense couldn't even detect a door. What's going on? Boom! Just as Linley was feeling vexed over his inability to find the entrance, suddenly, an astonishing surge of sword energy surged towards him. Looking up, he saw small golden swords rushing out of the black hole. Their killing intent soared to the sky as they rushed towards Xuelingtian and Xuelingtian. Formation? Sensing the source of the sword chi, Lin Rei raised his eyebrows in surprise. He could feel that these small swords came from the power of a formation. What surprised Lin Rei was that this formation had some skills. If not for the fact that he knew where he was, Lin Rei would have thought that he was in the immortal world or the celestial world. An emperor-grade formation. Not bad. I didn't expect to encounter an emperor-grade formation in this barren land. This is getting more and more interesting. I really don't know what will appear next. Thinking about the things that had happened since they came out, it was completely different from what it seemed on the surface. Especially in this realm where spiritual energy was scarce. F*ck, Master, why don't you go? Didn't you say you would protect me? Didn't you say you would bring me to fly? Chapter 1025. F*ck. Seeing Xuelingtian's cowardly appearance, Lin Rei's face fell. But he still had to go. He had no choice. However, sensing the danger from the sword intent, Lin Rei had a headache. F*ck. Raising his head, a resolute expression flashed across his face. Then, he raised his hand and a mysterious seal appeared. A young eagle slowly appeared in the sky. Heavenly Spirit Stab. Heavenly Spirit Formation, complete. Without any formation flags or anything to support it, being able to use the formation was already very good. Moreover, Lin Rei estimated that the Heavenly Spirit Formation should be able to resist the formation in front of him. Although it wasn't as strong as an Emperor-grade formation, at the very least, it was formed using the Devouring Heaven art. It was inevitable that the formation wouldn't contain devouring power. Therefore, Lin Rei felt that it should be able to resist the formation in front of him. Of course, the worst-case scenario was that it couldn't resist, but at least it wouldn't be too bad. The worst-case scenario was that although it couldn't cancel out the formation, it could at least resist it for a while, giving Xuelingtian a chance to escape. Quick, leave this place. The formation appeared, and Linley said to Blood Spirit Heaven, open for me. A formation appeared in the sky, and a long spear similar to the Chaos Dragon spear appeared out of thin air. The tip of the spear was aimed at the sword intent. Whoosh! After receiving Lin Rei's order, Xuelingtian didn't even think about it and directly fled. But the moment he fled, the small golden sword rushed over. At this critical moment, Lin Rei's Heavenly Spirit Formation finally activated. Stab! Bang! Bang, bang! In the next moment, the sound of weapons clashing resounded throughout the entire point. Blood Lingtian, who was watching from afar, was dumbfounded. He had not expected Linley to be so powerful. If Linley had used such a powerful formation from the very beginning, most likely none of this would have happened, and he would have died. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but feel terrified. However, what shocked him the most was that Lin Rei could be in the air without knowing about the formation. This was something that had never happened before in his knowledge. After a wave of collisions, Lin Rei realized that the array formation in the cave was quite powerful, and it seemed that the array formation's energy was endless. If that was the case, it would be difficult to enter. F***ck, what should I do? With my current strength and capital, I don't have anything I want. What should I use to break it? Generally speaking, there were two ways to break a formation. The first way was to use brute force to break it. The second way was to find the core of the formation. However, from the looks of it, it was impossible to find the core of the formation. As for the first way, it was also impossible. Although the Zhonglong was powerful, Lin Rei felt that the Zhonglong might not be able to break it. What should I do? He ignored the formation and left the range of the small golden sword in a flash. He retreated to the side and fell into deep thought. Shui Lingtian didn't say anything and just watched Lin Rei quietly. He was curious about what method his master would use to enter the cave. Frankly speaking, it was impossible for him not to care about the things in the cave. If it weren't for the existence of the array formation, perhaps he would have entered long ago. In the endless void. Swish, a stream of light streaked across the endless darkness. If one took a closer look, one would discover that three people were wrapped in the light, looking around as though they were searching for something. A young lady, have you found it? If you encounter a space-time storm, even if you have the strength of a sage, the end result is imaginable. At the side, when Ying heard Lin Tian's words, she frowned slightly and her expression turned ugly. She didn't know what a space-time storm was before, but after this period of time, she had a deep understanding of it. Not long after entering this space, the three of them encountered a space-time storm. But fortunately, the space-time storm didn't affect them at that time. Even so, the destruction brought about by the space-time storm still shocked them. Now that they thought about it, they still broke out in cold sweat and their bodies stiffened. They swore that they never wanted to encounter that scene again in their lives. Sigh, I didn't expect us to miscalculate. I thought we could find that place if we followed the bitter smile all the way to the east. But I didn't expect this space to be so dangerous. Just a space-time storm is so powerful. As soon as Ying said this, the three of them tacitly stopped talking and the place fell into silence. Roar. All of a sudden, a beast-like roar echoed in the pitch-black space, echoing in the ears of Lin Tian's group and lingering. What's going on? Ying came back to his senses and turned to look at Lin Tian. He looked at him curiously and asked if he had heard what Lin Tian had said. Please don't encounter anything from the space-time. Those are things that have been left behind from the prehistoric era or even further back. At that moment, Lin Tian prayed silently. As the person in charge of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, he still received some secret information, especially regarding the existence of things from the space-time. What? Lin Tian knew, but it didn't mean that Ying and Ying knew. Hearing Lin Tian say this, the two of them scratched their heads in confusion. Seeing the two of them like this, Lin Tian explained, in the space-time, the most terrifying thing is not the space-time storm, but the things that remain in the space-time. Just like that beast-like roar just now, there are many things in the space-time. But as long as we don't touch their range of cancellation, they won't attack. Although they were still a little confused, they understood that they were in an unknown place. They couldn't be careful at all times. Otherwise, they would be the ones to get hurt. What should we do? Lin Tian turned his head to look at Ying and asked. In this place, Ying had to be the most powerful one. That's right, sister. Tell me, how should we resolve this situation? Husband is still waiting for me in that place. I can't give up. Thinking of Lin Rei, Ying was suddenly filled with energy, and her lost fighting spirit was reignited. Husband. Without the two of them noticing, a tear rolled down her cheek, and her face was full of grievance. Thinking back to when her husband left, it was just a request, and thinking about all the things she had done during this time, she regretted it. Inside the immortal cave mansion in the Divine Valley, Some of it was because he was thinking about how to break the array, and some of it hadn't been cracked open yet. Suddenly, a wave of pain surged in his heart. He hugged his head and squatted down, his face pale and gloomy. The normal temperature of his body instantly dropped to the freezing point. And in the depths of Lin Rei's spirit sea, there was a scene, a very real scene. Right at this moment, just as Linley was about to ask more questions, he suddenly felt a sense of dread from the depths of his soul. His voice came to an abrupt stop, as if he had been frozen in place. He stood there in a daze, his expression full of vigilance and fear. What's going on? Who on earth is so powerful, could it be? Suddenly, the fear in his heart, a figure appeared in Lin Rei's mind. He believed that this figure could make him feel fear, just like now. Of course, it was impossible for the Devourer to emit this level of fear, and the Devourer was right in front of him. If he wanted to do something, Lin Rei could still feel it. Little dragon, what's going on? Is it you? Lin Rei wanted to ask what was going on, but halfway through his words, he suddenly stopped. This time, he panicked. And he was sure that this matter was definitely related to the little dragon. Thinking of his own situation, and thinking of his two wives, Lin Rei's heart moved. He used the last bit of power he had left to open the system space and released the Shadow Children. Quickly leave here with Bing. After returning to the sect, take good care of the sect, understand? Husband, you, his children, who were originally cultivating in the system space, suddenly saw the scene in front of them jump. When they saw Lin Rei, the two of them were excited, but these sudden words made the two of them stunned and dumbfounded. Why didn't you say so earlier? Listen to me. Feeling the vitality in his body quickly being buried, he knew that he did not have much time left. You don't have to worry about this matter. Take good care of the sect and wait for my return. When the time comes, we will go to the holy world together. However, during this period of time, you have to protect the sect and cultivate well. When I return, I will check on you. After speaking, Linley turned to look at the Devourer. A smile appeared on his face as he said, I'm very happy to have met you. This battle was extremely valuable to me. Although I wasn't able to defeat you, the experience I gained is a true treasure trove. Don't worry, the Emperor of the Hongmeng realm will go. Moreover, the barrier there will be broken by the Emperor sooner or later, but your people will be free. You. Lin Rei suddenly acted like this, as if he was saying his last words. The Devourer was baffled. Other than Lin Rei himself, no one else was aware of the fear in Lin Rei's body. Okay, Shadow, the two of you leave quickly. Remember, ask Yun, to call back all the disciples outside. All those who disobey will be killed without mercy. After saying that, the last bit of vitality in his body was taken away. Lin Rei knew that his time was up. Until now, he still didn't understand why the little dragon would do this. Until he knew that he wouldn't die, as for what would happen next, he didn't know. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lin Rei, who was originally standing in the air, suddenly disappeared without a trace, as if he had never appeared. Husband? Husband, seeing Lin Rei disappear, the Shadow Children were anxious. How could they still care about the life and death of the people around them? They instantly adjusted their cultivation and a huge pressure instantly crushed the entire Salt City. The gentlemen instantly covered the entire Salt City. They wanted to investigate Lin Rei's whereabouts. However, what made the two girls helpless was that there wasn't the slightest trace of Lin Rei in the entire Salt City. There wasn't even the slightest trace of his aura left. As for the Devourer, he was also very shocked when he saw Lin Rei disappear. He also thought about Lin Rei, but the outcome was the same as the Shadow Children. As for the remaining people in the Donglai Pavilion, the Devourer didn't care about them. He glanced at the Shadow Children and then left in a flash, disappearing from the eyes of the world. After the two women stayed in Salt City for a period of time, they didn't see Linley's figure. In the end, they followed Linley's instructions and returned to the profound sect. As for Linley, he followed the instructions given to him by Shadow and summoned all the profound sect cultivators back from all over the divine realm. In the cave dwelling of the divine valley, Lin Rei, who was immersed in his memories, had a gloomy expression on his face. He didn't expect that he would end up like this. Of course, this was only the final result. As for the final process, he did not know. He only knew that he was here when he woke up. Although he had recovered a bit of his cultivation base, it paled in comparison to his previous self. It was not an ordinary difference. What's going on? Why did I suddenly appear here? The system hasn't woken up yet. It seems that if I want to solve the mystery of myself, I can only wait for the system to wake up. Lin Rei didn't know that the reason he came back here was all because of the system. As for the little dragon, he had feelings for him, but he didn't stop it because he was here. Ruolin and Lin Rei knew that all of this was done by the two of them. They were afraid that Lin Rei would not be in the same situation at this moment. Even if he did not kill them, he would at least ignore this matter for a few days. The Lin family. Charge. We must break through the Lin family's defenses. Whoever breaks through, I will guarantee that person a lifetime of wealth and glory. Huang Fujing, looking at the impenetrable existence in front of her, was filled with helplessness. One day, for an entire day, the guards that she had recruited or the Huangfu family's own guards had been attacking the Lin family for an entire day. But now, the result was that not a single one of them could enter the Lin family's front door. Many of her own people had even been killed. Faced with such a situation, Huang Fujing was undoubtedly very distressed. After all, this was her strength. As for the other high-ranking members of the Huangfu family, it was rare that they did not make a move. Instead, they stood to the side and watched, as if this matter had nothing to do with them. Huang Fujing, this old man advises you to turn back and be saved. You are very likely to push your Huangfu family into a bottomless abyss. Furthermore, you are attacking the Lin family like this. Do you really think that the Lin family doesn't have a temper? An angry shout rang out from the Lin family. Huang Fujing was not familiar with this voice, but the high-ranking members of the Huangfu family behind Huang Fujing were very familiar with it. Who else could it be other than old Master Lin of the Lin family? And they agreed with Master Lin's point. One had to know that the Lin family used to be one of the top families. Although they had fallen, but a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Regardless of how the family had fallen, they might still have some tricks up their sleeves. Otherwise, why hadn't the major powers in Yen country been able to take over the Lin family after 8 or 9 years? Why would the Lin family still have a place in the Yen country? Especially regarding the disappearance of old Master Lin. During this period of time, they seem to have found the answer in their hearts. Therefore, no matter how much Huang Fujing attacked, they remained motionless. Chapter 1026. Young miss, I wouldn't dare. A young man dressed in Huangfu clan's frightening attire hurried over to Huang Fujing's side. He lowered his voice so that only the two of them could hear him. It's you? Huang Fujing's expression tightened at the young man's appearance. Her heart thumped, and her originally calm heart was shattered. Why was he here? Wasn't he with Master? Why was he here? She recognized the young man. His name was Zhao Tianqi, and he was the elder she had sent to serve the sword sect. He was also her master. But why was he here? When she saw Zhao Tianqi, a bad premonition arose from her heart. Subconsciously, she knew that something bad had happened. Zhao Tianqi looked at his master and vigilantly scanned the crowd. Naturally, he moved closer to Huang Fujing's ear. Huang Fujing didn't avoid him. Young miss, we just received news that the Sword Sect doesn't allow Senior to accept you as a disciple. Furthermore, what? Shock and bewilderment. This news was undoubtedly fatal to her now. One had to know that what she had done previously had crossed the bottom line of many people. Previously, if she hadn't received the news from Zhao Tianqi, perhaps she wouldn't have been afraid of anything. After all, she was previously a disciple of the Sword Gate. But now, she wasn't. If her uncles or the Lin family found out about this, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, Huang Fujing couldn't understand why the Sword Sect would appear to stop her. Furthermore, what? Huang Fujing asked. Zhao Tianqi was startled when he sensed the anxiety in his young Mrs. voice. He hurriedly said, "Furthermore, your master seems to have agreed. He even rushed back to the sect today." What? He left? Yes. Zhao Tianqi nodded. His expression was very serious, and he didn't seem to be lying. According to the disciples of the Sword Sect, it seems that something has happened to the Sword Sect. Furthermore, the matter seems to be related to you. So your plan to become a disciple of the Sword Sect is completely ruined. Huang Fujing fell into silence. At this moment, Huang Fujing's mind was in a mess. She couldn't figure out how she had offended the Sword Sect to the point that the Sword Sect would take action to stop her from being accepted as a disciple. Of course, more importantly, how should she end this situation? From what Zhao Tianqi had told her, she understood that her chances of entering the Sword Sect had been completely dashed. She no longer had a chance. She raised her head and looked at the Lin family in front of her. She understood even more clearly that it was impossible to break through the Lin family's impregnable defense in a short period of time. When she thought of the series of events that would follow one after another, the pressure made her a little breathless. What should we do? What should I do next? Without the support of the Sword Sect and Grandpa, what should I do? Problems popped up one after another. She realized that she didn't have a single solution to these problems. As the saying goes, there's a wolf in front and a tiger behind. Right now, the Lin family was fiercely watching her, and her relatives were waiting behind her. She had nowhere to go. Miss? Beside her, Zhao Tianqi saw that Huang Fujing's expression was absent-minded. He was very worried. As Huang Fujing's loyal follower, he didn't want anything to happen to Huang Fujing. What's wrong? Huang Fujing was roused from her stupor. Are we leaving now? Or? Zhao Tianqi understood his little mistress's current situation very well. She had offended the Lin family, and the entire Huangfu family was about to be embroiled in a battle for the position of family head. He also knew his little mistress's current strength. After the battle with the Lin family, her power had been greatly damaged. Originally, she had thought that after entering the Sword Sect, these losses wouldn't be much, but now, she looked at Zhao Tianqi, hesitation in her eyes. She wasn't willing to let him leave now. She really wasn't willing. As a person who wanted to be strong, how could she bear to give up halfway? However, when she thought of her current situation, a bitter smile appeared on her face. Sigh, what else can I do? In this situation, the only thing I can do is leave. I'll slowly gather my strength and come back to fight for what he thinks is mine. This was probably the only thing she could do now. At the same time, it was also the safest option. If she left now, even her uncles wouldn't be able to stop her. This time, she was the only one who brought her own power to the Lin family. As for her uncles, they were just tagging along. As for her subordinates? She didn't bring a single one. Then, let's hurry up and leave before the Lin clan changes their mind. Otherwise. Zhao Tianqi inexplicably heaved a sigh of relief when he got the chance to leave. After all, anyone with a discerning eye could see the current situation clearly. Okay, she nodded in response. Her eyes scanned the surroundings. Her family members were eyeing her covetously. At this moment, she wanted these people to remember that when the queen returned, she would make these people pay back thousands of times over. After receiving his little mistress's final confirmation, Zhao Tianqi took action. As Huang Fujing's right-hand man, he quickly organized Huang Fujing's forces. Jing, what are you? When the surrounding Huangfu family members saw Huang Fujing's actions, they originally thought that she was planning to attack the Lin family again. But now, they sensed that something was wrong. She was going to King run away. A few of the smarter ones had already realized this. Sigh, I'm sorry, uncles. Due to some matters, I have to leave now to deal with them. Huang Fujing knew very well what her uncles were thinking. She sneered in her heart, but on the surface, she was very calm. Niece believes that even without me, I believe that all the uncles here will continue to fight with the Lin family to save grandfather. After all the aristocratic families are watching now. Our Huangfu family has made such a big move this time. If we don't get the old man out, I'm afraid the Huangfu family will become the laughing stock of the entire Yan country. At that time, when that happens, our Huangfu family will be in an awkward position. Not to mention the imperial family, I'm afraid it will have a great impact on our Huangfu family's business. Everyone, after Huang Fujing spoke, everyone was stunned. Then, a murderous intent flashed. Without a doubt, Huang Fujing's words had pushed the Huangfu family into the eye of the storm. She had pushed them into the eye of the storm as well. If they retreated now, it would probably end up like what Huang Fujing had said. At this moment, everyone in the Huangfu family hated Huang Fujing to the core. They couldn't wait to get rid of her. But, could they? They couldn't. Under the watchful eyes of so many people, if they made a move now, their reputation in the Yan country would be ruined. This was something they didn't want to see. Seeing everyone's silence, Huang Fujing knew that she had achieved what she wanted. She didn't want to stay any longer. She bowed to everyone and led her forces out of the battle. Only the Huangfu family members were left in front of the Lin family's door. Huang Fujing left quickly, without any hesitation. The situation fell into an awkward state. Now, the Huangfu family members who were in front of the Lin family's door all had their own ulterior motives. Everyone began to plan in their hearts. No one wanted to make a move at this time. After all, it would damage their family's forces. In the end, if they really wanted to fight for the position of the family head, they would be at a disadvantage. What should we do? Bastard, how could she do this? This little girl still doesn't forget to stab us in the back. Bastard, this little girl actually, towards Huang Fujing, towards this niece of theirs, they couldn't wait to kill her. In the cave of the Divine Valley, Lin Rei, who had been silent for a long time, finally decided to leave. Let's leave. After all, the things here won't be out of tune. It seems that I have to quickly improve my cultivation during this period. Otherwise, I don't know if the things here will be intact when I come back. Master, where are we going now? In the distance, seeing that Lin Rei didn't understand, Xue Lingtian carefully asked. Leave. Leave. Lin Rei's words stunned Xue Lingtian. He clearly hadn't expected Lin Rei to make such a choice. In Xue Lingtian's mind, he had always believed that Lin Rei would do everything in his power to enter and obtain the things inside. But now, it was a different situation. Yes, leave. Looking at Xue Lingtian, a smile appeared on Xue Lingtian's face. This place isn't something we can touch for now. Let's leave first. Once our cultivation recovers a bit, we'll come back again. I trust that next time, we won't return empty-handed like today. Lin Rei had made up his mind. Xue Lingtian knew that nothing he said could change Lin Rei's mind. But what Xue Lingtian didn't know was that besides not having the strength to do so, Lin Rei also had a trace of worry in his heart. It was none other than Lu Changtian. It had been a while since he had entered, and he didn't know if his disciple had been obedient or not. "Let's go." Stepping forward, he waved his hand at Xue Lingtian and followed the original path out of the cave. Just like when they had entered, there were many demon beasts along the way. But because of the bloodworm, those demon beasts didn't dare act rashly. Lin Rei's figure finally appeared at the entrance of the cave. A ray of sunlight shone down on Lin Rei's face. Feeling the warmth of the sunlight, Lin Rei truly wished that he could stay in this moment forever. Unfortunately, he knew that was just wishful thinking. "I'm here." He could sense that the blood spirit sky had followed him here. The blood spirit sky was Linley's greatest pride. Although he hadn't been able to retrieve the items from the second cave estate, Linley was already satisfied that he had been able to tame the bloodworm. As the saying went, contentment brought happiness. A person who didn't understand contentment would end up with nothing. "Where are we going now?" Xue Lingtian asked. "Accompany me to find someone. I originally wanted to let that person gain some experience, but now I just hope he doesn't encounter any danger." Truth. Lin Rei still didn't dare to compliment Lu Changtian's cultivation. After all, it was just a tiny bit. The bloodworm could probably kill Lu Changtian with a sweep of the floor. "How, is it very weak?" Lin Rei was speechless. Lin Rei was helpless against Xue Lingtian's straightforwardness. However, Xue Lingtian wasn't wrong. Lu Changtian was indeed very weak. Of course, it depended on who he was with. If compared to the people in this realm, Lu Changtian might not be the strongest, but he was at least below average. But in front of Lin Rei or Xue Lingtian, Lu Changtian was just a piece of trash. Oh, no, not a piece of trash, but worse than a piece of trash. It wasn't belittling, but Lu Changtian's cultivation was just too weak in the cultivation world. Looking at Xue Lingtian, Lin Rei nodded helplessly. "It's okay. After all, in this world, it can barely be considered below average." Average? Below average? He looked at Lin Rei with a strange gaze. Clearly, he was surprised that Lin Rei could travel with such a person. "Heh, don't look down on him. That little thing's bloodline is very powerful. Otherwise, I wouldn't have accepted him as my disciple." "You? He's your disciple?" Xue Lingtian was shocked. He knew how powerful Lin Rei's cultivation was. To be able to become Lin Rei's disciple, even if he didn't have monstrous authority, he could still do whatever he wanted in the divine world. "Heh, enough. Let's go quickly. The situation might change if we delay." After saying that, Lin Rei used the butterfly steps. His figure danced in the air like a butterfly and flew away. "Bastard, wait until I cultivate my human nature. I'll definitely make you give me that movement technique." Seeing Lin Rei disappear in the air, Xue Lingtian's eyes were filled with fervor. Who wouldn't like good things? Not to mention, it was an ancient demonic beast that had gained intelligence. In the air, looking at the surrounding terrain and recalling the route he took earlier, his cultivation rose again and his speed increased by another level. Whoosh, a ray of light slashed through the skies. On the ground, the blood spirit sky's enormous body was twisting as it chased after the flying Linley. Not too far away from where Linley was flying, a series of explosions could be heard. Bang! 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 "Bastard, you dare to sneak attack me when I'm cultivating? Are you courting death?" Looking at the demonic tiger in front of him, Lu Changtian's face was filled with seriousness. Even with his current cultivation, he couldn't see through the demonic tiger's cultivation. It was obvious that the other party's strength wasn't something he could fight against. But now, other than fighting, there was no other way. Escape? Lu Changtian had thought of this before. But when this thought appeared, Lu Changtian decisively gave up. A demonic beast's speed was much faster than a human's. Moreover, its cultivation was stronger than his. How could he escape? As for fighting, although this decision was stupid, he had no other choice. Only by fighting could he have a glimmer of hope. At the same time, looking at the demonic tiger in front of him, he silently prayed that his master, Lin Rei, could arrive as soon as possible. Master, you better hurry up and come. Otherwise, your precious disciple, I, will die. His eyes scanned the surroundings and finally locked onto the demonic tiger. He released his cultivation and his body's battle intent soared to the sky. This is... In the distance, feeling the huge battle intent, Lin Rei was stunned. He thought to himself, oh no, could it be that the little guy is in danger? Chapter 1027. Sensing the energy fluctuation ahead, Lin Rei's heart tightened. That direction was where Lu Changtian was. Hurry up. Something might have happened to my little disciple. Xue Lingtian reminded Xue Lingtian. Then, he increased his speed and shot out like a sharp arrow. His speed was so fast that it made people click their tongues. F***ck. Xue Lingtian was shocked when he saw Lin Rei increase his speed again. He did not expect that the speed just now was not Lin Rei's fastest speed. However, when he heard that something had happened to the little guy he was waiting for, Xue Lingtian did not think too much about it. He increased his speed and chased after Lin Rei. In the distance, Lu Changtian was standing. At this moment, Lu Changtian had transformed into a war god. He held a 3-foot cold light in his hand and looked at the tiger demon in front of him with murderous intent. Kill. As soon as he said the word, Lu Changtian's figure moved. He was very fast. In a short moment, he had arrived in front of the tiger demon with a long sword in his hand. He raised his hand and stabbed at the tiger demon's vital point. His actions were clean and efficient. There was no hesitation. It looked like he wanted to kill the tiger demon with a single strike. Bang! The sound of weapons colliding rang out. Lu Changtian's long sword pierced the tiger demon's throat. However, what shocked Lu Changtian was that the long sword did not pierce the tiger demon's throat. He did not even hurt the tiger demon. Lu Changtian even suspected that he was just scratching the tiger demon's itch. How is this possible? Sensing the tiger demon's strength, it was too late to retreat now because the tiger demon was enraged. Roar! His murderous intent rose. He stared at Lu Changtian as if he could not wait to tear him apart. Roar! Roar! The tiger demon was enraged. He felt that his dignity was being challenged. He could not tolerate it. Roar! It lowered its head and opened its bloody mouth to bite Lu Changtian. However, Lu Changtian was already prepared for this. Seeing that the demonic tiger's bloody mouth was about to reach him, Lu Changtian decisively gave up on continuing his bombardment and rushed towards a blind spot of the demonic tiger. Bang! Another sound of weapons clashing could be heard. Lu Changtian did not give up attacking after leaving. He then used the fighting style that he had been practicing all his life, slashing and stabbing wildly at Lu Changtian. Dazzling light sword. Cotton water sword technique. Roaring flame palm. Chasm fist. One set of combat techniques after another was used, and the series of actions could be said to be very cool. The scene entered a white-hot state. However, others might not know, but Lu Changtian himself was very clear. He had already used all his means. His body was not strong, and he had only learned so much. He had used all his strength, and even exceeded his strength, but he was still unable to hurt Lu Changtian. This made him feel very busy. Right now, the only thing she could hope for was that her master, Lin Rei, would arrive as soon as possible. Otherwise, the only thing left for her would be that cold corpse. Sigh. She let out a long sigh. Her small figure quickly twisted her body to avoid the demonic tiger's attack. Otherwise, if the demonic tiger's palm was too heavy, she would probably lose half her life. Roar! Suddenly, just as the demonic tiger was chasing Lu Changtian, the demonic tiger that was originally filled with anger and murderous intent suddenly stopped. It looked around and the murderous intent in its eyes disappeared. Instead, it was replaced with fear. If one looked carefully, they would be able to see that the demonic tiger's huge body was trembling slightly. In the dark, seeing the demonic tiger's action, everyone turned to look at the blood spirit sky and understood what was going on. Lin Rei had already hidden in the dark and did not go out. He only wanted to see how his disciple could deal with the demonic tiger. But now, it seemed that Lu Changtian did not disappoint him. Although he was still unable to kill the demonic tiger in the end, at least he dared to fight a demonic tiger that was higher than him. It was already not easy. If it were someone else with a weak will, they would either stay where they were and wait to be eaten, or they would get up and run away. But in the end, they would still be eaten. Lin Rei was very satisfied with Lu Changtian. He stood up and walked out. Lu Changtian, who was fighting with the demonic tiger, suddenly saw a person appear in his peripheral vision. He turned his head to look. What entered his eyes was his master, who was looking at him with a sinister and cunning smile. However, when he saw Lin Rei's arrival, Lu Changtian's originally panicked heart immediately calmed down. The biggest taboo in a battle is to be distracted. It's easy for the demonic tiger to take advantage of you like this. Looking at Lu Changtian, who was looking at him, Lin Rei began to teach him. He looked like a master. Bang! As soon as Lin Rei finished speaking, Lu Changtian's figure was sent flying. The appearance of this scene caused Lin Li's heart to freeze. An endless amount of killing intent surged out from his heart. Bastard, you dare to touch my disciple in front of me? Do you think I'm dead? After saying that, Lin Rei moved. His figure flashed quickly as he used the stellar finger. With his foundation establishment stage cultivation, he arrived in front of the demonic tiger at an unimaginable speed. He raised his hand and rushed towards the demonic tiger's throat. Open for me. Even though the stellar finger was at the bottom of the cultivation world, but in this era where spiritual energy was scarce, the cultivation world's low-level techniques were simply god-level techniques. Puchi, the sound of flesh being pierced sounded. At this moment, Lin Rei's hand was already in the demonic tiger's throat. Little guy, you shouldn't have slapped me. Otherwise, I might have let you go, but you won't have the chance. Hararg. An explosive roar came out from Lin Li's mouth, and then he formed a sword finger with his right hand, causing an astonishing burst of sword energy to appear. A woo, as if it felt something that could threaten its life, the demonic tiger, which was originally filled with killing intent, started to beg for mercy. Its low voice was really funny. If it was a kind-hearted person, seeing the demonic tiger beg for mercy, they might have let it go. Unfortunately, it met Lin Rei. In Lin Rei's view, no matter who you are, whether you are a man or a woman, as long as you touch his reverse scale, you must die. Lin Rei's rule was that those who touch his reverse scale will be killed without mercy. Ignoring the demonic tiger's begging, he waved the sword chi in his hand and slashed towards the demonic tiger's waist. Puchi, the bloody scene appeared, and Lu Changtian was scared stiff. He even forgot about the pain in his body as he stared blankly at the scene before him. As for the blood spirit sky, it was the same as Lu Changtian. The two of them had seen Lin Rei's true killing, so they didn't feel anything. The demonic tiger's body was cut in two by Lin Rei's hand. Its life was instantly extinguished without any room for recovery. Clap, clap. Withdrawing his hand from the demonic tiger's throat, he clapped his hands and used the imperial water art. Instantly, a stream of clear water appeared out of nowhere, washing away the blood stains on Lin Li's hands. After doing this, he turned to Lu Changtian and the blood spirit sky. Seeing their current appearances, Lin Rei helplessly shook his head. "Little guy, go clean up this demonic tiger. We'll eat it in a bit." Lu Changtian didn't dare to disobey Lin Rei. He nodded. "Okay." Lu Changtian turned and went to clean up. But before he left, Lu Changtian didn't forget to sneak a glance at Lin Rei. His expression was full of desire. "Ah, little guy." Lin Rei sensed Lu Changtian's gaze. As someone who had lived for thousands of years, he could tell what Lu Changtian wanted with a single glance. It seemed that Lu Changtian had taken a fancy to his astral finger. Regarding this, Lin Li only smiled. Regarding a low-level technique like the astral finger, Lin Li would teach it to him, but not now. After all, with his current strength, he was not strong enough to use this technique. "You." The blood spirit sky's voice rang out, but he couldn't finish his words. "What's wrong with me?" He looked at the blood spirit sky doubtfully. "You, where are you going next? Here? Or?" "That's the problem." Lin Rei sank into contemplation. He had thought about this problem before. After all, he was currently guarding a treasure trove. Although he couldn't enter, as long as his cultivation reached a certain level, it would only be a matter of time before he entered. Furthermore, he also wanted to take advantage of this time to properly raise his cultivation base. After all, only those with a high cultivation base would have ordinary abilities. Just like this time, if he hadn't coincidentally encountered the primal chaos dragon spear, he probably would have already become food in the blood spirit sky's stomach. "Let's do it here." After pondering for a long time, Lin Rei said, "My cultivation base hasn't recovered yet, and there's an immortal cave here that hasn't been opened yet. The spiritual qi here is pretty good, so why don't we cultivate here for a while? Once our cultivation base has increased a bit, we can explore that immortal cave before leaving." "Alright, I'll listen to you." The blood spirit sky nodded. He didn't really care. After all, he had lived here for who knew how many years. The two of them fell silent. As for Lin Rei, he found a clean place and sat down cross-legged to cultivate. The spiritual energy in an area of 10,000 kilometers, because of Lin Li's training, began to grow restless. Whoosh, whoosh, a mighty gust of wind blew past. The divine valley, which had been filled with spiritual energy, suddenly disappeared as soon as Lin Li began to train. It was as though it had never been there in the first place. The appearance of this phenomenon startled the blood spirit sky. He turned to look at Lin Rei with a shocked expression. Although Lin Rei had already given him a lot of surprises before, blood spirit sky found that Lin Rei was capable of shocking things in an endless stream. He simply couldn't view Lin Rei as a normal person. "I really don't know what this guy was like when he was at his peak. Now that he's only at the foundation establishment stage, he can actually absorb the surrounding spiritual qi in an instant. If I could have such a method, then, imagination was beautiful, but reality was cruel." This kind of thinking was just imagination. If he really wanted to realize it, he would need Lin Rei to teach him. The blood spirit sky returned to his original calm and collected the shock in his heart. He lay down on the ground again and ignored everything. As for Lin Li, all of the spiritual energy within 10,000 kilometers had instantly disappeared. This made him extremely unhappy. "Looks like I still don't know about spirit gathering formations. Thinking about spirit-gathering formations, Lin Rei couldn't help but sigh. It was quite exciting. He wouldn't even look at such formations. After all, such low-level formations were useless to him. But to the current him, not only were they not useless, they were actually very useful. Thinking about the past, a bitter smile appeared on his face. Sigh. Sighing, he waved his hand and a spirit-gathering formation appeared around him. Whoosh, whoosh, the instant the spirit-gathering formation appeared, the surrounding spiritual chi was instantly replenished. Not bad, but this power. Sensing that the spirit-gathering formation's power wasn't as great as he had imagined. As he thought about this, another 10 or so soul-gathering formations appeared around his body. Although it still wasn't at the level Linley wanted, compared to before, it was already very good. Forget it, I'll just put up with it. After all, this isn't the divine realm, so I can't ask for too much. Thinking about this realm, Lin Rei finally compromised. However, he really couldn't figure out why he would appear here. Even if he was sent to a realm like the divine realm and the immortal realm, it would be fine as long as spiritual chi was abundant. But now, because of the lack of spiritual chi, even cultivation was a problem. Blood Spirit Sky had been watching everything Lin Rei did. He began to believe what Lin Rei said before. Although he had seen Lin Rei's strength before, only now did he truly believe it. Perhaps following him will really bring me and my Blood Flood Dragon clan to greatness. In the ceremony hall of the Lin family, Master Lin looked at the injured disciples below with a flash of guilt in his eyes. These disciples were the mainstays of the Lin family, but he didn't expect that in just 2 days, they would be ambushed by so many mysterious forces. Regarding this matter, Master Lin was seething with anger. He ordered his family's shadow guard to take action. If they were alive, he wanted to see them. If they were dead, he wanted to see their corpses. No matter what, they had to find the culprits. Unfortunately, Master Lin was disappointed in the end because the shadow guard that was sent out was injured and thrown at the Lin family's gate, just like the Lin family's disciples. What was this? Provoking the Lin family? Or was it purely to disgust the Lin family and disgust him, an old man who had 1 foot in the grave? He thought a lot about the secret forces. The royal family, the Huangfu family, or some retired aristocratic families in the Yan country. However, he couldn't think of anyone who could injure the shadow guard except for a few in the entire Yan country. He couldn't think of anyone who could do anything to the shadow guard. One had to know that the shadow guard was very united in groups, especially when the shadow guard had a set of joint attacks. Even if he wanted to kill or injure a shadow guard, it would be very difficult, not to mention that the shadow guard was injured. Judging from the wound, it was obvious that the other party didn't kill him. He believed that. If the other party had killed him, perhaps his shadow guard wouldn't have been able to come back. Sigh, if only Rei was here. Maybe he would have a way to deal with those mysterious people. Thinking of his grandson, the old man's face was full of pride. Chapter 1028. Regarding the mysterious assassination, Master Lin eventually decided to deal with it by sticking to the status quo and suppressed this matter. As the saying goes, one is in the light while the enemy is in the dark. Unless they were completely dealt with, there would always be trouble. Regarding this, the only thing Master Lin could do was to order the entire Lin family to seal the mansion and not allow the disciples to go out. As for food and other things, they were all bought by those with strong cultivation. In the Divine Valley, it had been a year since Lin Rei decided to cultivate in the Divine Valley. In the past year, Lin Rei could be said to have worked very hard. However, no matter how hard he worked, it was useless. After all, there was only a small amount of spiritual energy every day. After cultivating, he still had to wait for the spiritual energy to condense again. Fortunately, Lin Rei knew how to concoct pills. There were also some elixirs in the Divine Valley that could be used to concoct low-grade pills. Lin Rei was very satisfied with this. A year's worth of time, combined with his usual training and the consumption of pills, finally allowed Linley to break through to the mid-stage of Inedia. He was only a step away from the late stage. It was a pity that just one step was enough to trap Lin Rei for more than 10 days. Conservatively speaking, if he wanted to break through, he would need a huge amount of spiritual energy to support it. If he were to cultivate like before, it would probably take 1 or 2 months. Moreover, he would also need to use pills. Otherwise, wanting to break through in 1 or 2 months was simply a fool's dream. In the past year, not only did Lin Rei break through, Lin Rei also didn't forget to supervise and guide Lu Changtian during his free time. Of course, this was only during his free time. After all, Lu Changtian's cultivation was a little slow. Fortunately, with the help of Lin Rei's pills, he improved a lot in a year. Lin Rei had too many pills that could raise one's cultivation level. However, although these pills sounded good, they had a lot of effects on one's foundation. Lin Rei wouldn't allow this to happen to his disciple. As his disciple, Lin Rei's first rule was that you could eat vegetables, but you couldn't carelessly use pills to increase your strength. Rather than that, it was better not to eat and just obediently eat half a bag. Bang! A rumbling sound could be heard from afar. Linley, seated in the lotus position, didn't frown at all. He opened his eyes and raised his head to look. When he saw the source of the sound, his frown slowly relaxed. What is this kid doing? Doesn't he know that I'm cultivating? Lin Rei was a little puzzled. In the past, Lu Changtian wouldn't be like this. Thinking about it, he stood up with doubt and disappeared. In the distance, Lu Changtian was lying on the ground, his clothes in tatters. Blood Spirit Sky was coiled on the ground, looking at Lu Changtian with a frivolous expression, as if to say, "Come here. What, do you want to continue now? You are not my match at all. Save it. When you become a cultivator like Master, you can come find me again. With your current cultivation method, I'm afraid you'll need a very long time to defeat me." Lu Changtian's voice echoed in Lu Changtian's mind. Lu Changtian wasn't surprised at all. After all, he was used to it. However, when Lu Changtian heard Xueling Tian speak for the first time, he was shocked like a country bumpkin for several days. Hearing Xueling Tian's words, Lu Changtian climbed up from the ruins with difficulty. He looked at Xueling Tian and said, "Don't forget how old I am now and how old you are. Moreover, I haven't reached the minimum requirement to practice the cultivation method given by my master. Therefore, when I can practice the cultivation method given by my master and reach a certain level of cultivation, the first thing I will do is to ruthlessly torture you. I will repay you for all the care you have given me during this period of time." Lu Changtian emphasized the word "taking care." Xueling Tian understood the meaning of the word "taking care." He pursed his lips and smiled with disdain. He believed that Lin Rei could torture him because Lin Rei was too strong. As for Lu Changtian? He. Regarding Lu Changtian's words, the Blood Spirit Sky only listened and didn't take it seriously. "You two are really in a good mood." While the two were silent, Lin Rei, who had been standing in the dark, walked out. He didn't forget to talk to the two as he walked. Master. Lin Rei's appearance stunned Xueling Tian. Obviously, he didn't know about Lin Rei's arrival. Master. Seeing Lin Rei's arrival, Lu Changtian's expression changed. His head drooped quickly. Thinking about how he was tortured by Lin Rei in the past year, he shuddered. Looking at the two of them, Linley nodded, then stood between them. "I didn't expect that the two of you would actually spar. However, he turned his head and looked at Lu Changtian. Are you injured? No, no. Lin Rei's words stunned Lu Changtian. He didn't expect Lin Rei to ask such a question. This was obviously different from the usual Lin Rei. If he had seen this before, he wouldn't have appeared. Instead, he would have waited in the dark until Lu Changtian was tortured beyond recognition. But now, that's good. Hearing that Lu Changtian was fine, Lin Rei let out a long breath. Since you're fine, pack up and leave the Divine Valley. What? What? Two shocked voices sounded at the same time. Obviously, it was Lu Changtian and Xue Ling Tian. Looking at the two, Lin Rei understood. I'm letting you leave because of a promise from a year ago. A year ago? Hearing this, Lu Changtian recalled. That's right, a year ago, his master had personally said that he would only give the Sword Sect 1 year. Within 1 year, he would be sent to the Sword Sect to challenge and exterminate them. Now, 1 year had passed. With his current strength, Lu Changtian was confident that not a single person in the Sword Sect could escape from him. However, he had some friendship with the Sword Sect. So, Lu Changtian had always thought that this was a joke and didn't take it seriously. But now, it seemed that he had misunderstood Lin Rei's intentions. Seeing that Lu Changtian was deep in thought, Lin Rei spoke. I think you've realized that I wasn't joking when I told you to exterminate the Sword Sect 1 year ago. Of course, this is just one of your many missions. What else is there? Master, please tell me. Lu Changtian couldn't disobey Lin Rei's orders. This time, after you return, the first thing you need to do is to exterminate the Sword Sect. As for the second thing, after pondering for a moment, he continued, it's very simple. After you return and deal with the Sword Sect, go to the Lin family and see how the Lin family is doing. If the Lin family encounters any trouble, just deal with it. However, you must remember that if you don't remove the roots, they will grow again. Just like the Lin family, if you encounter any other families that are trying to harm the Lin family, you don't need to know who did it. Just exterminate them and spread the word that if anyone dares to harm the Lin family, they will end up like the Sword Sect. Lin family? Are you really the Lin family member who was in a coma for 8 years? Although he had followed Lin Rei for more than a year, Lu Changtian didn't dare to ask too many questions. Now that he heard this, he was confused. Heh. You can take it as that. Of course, this is only a temporary body that I'm living in. One day, I will return to my original body. Lin Rei didn't intend to hide anything from Lu Changtian. What? Lu Changtian was shocked. What did he mean by temporary body? What did he mean by returning to his original body in the future? This method shocked him. Haha, that's enough. This isn't what you think now. When you reach a certain height, you will be like me. Seeing Lu Changtian's reaction, Lin Rei interrupted him. Remember my words. After you leave, go to the Sword Sect. I'll leave the Sword Sect to you. As for the specifics, you can do as you see fit. I trust that you won't make your master busy. As for the Lin family, tell my mother that I'm fine and don't let her worry. If they ask when I will return home, tell them that it will be 3 years. Only a little over a year has passed. There are still 2 years left. I will definitely return home in 2 years. Then Lin Rei told Lu Changtian some things to pay attention to. Apart from the Sword Sect, the rest were related to the Lin family. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Lin Rei finally stopped talking. Plop, suddenly, Lu Changtian knelt on the ground and kowtowed twice. He looked at Lin Rei with gratitude. Master, thank you for accepting me as your disciple. If it wasn't for you, I would still be a frog at the bottom of a well. If it wasn't for you, how would I know that the world of cultivation is so wonderful? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have the strength I have today. Get up. This is just the beginning. With a wave of his hand, a majestic spirit energy rushed out. A hand formed from spirit energy lifted Lu Changtian up from the ground. Okay, hurry up and go. Waving his hand at Lu Changtian, he turned to Xue Lingtian. Go and send Changtian out of the Divine Valley. Why me? Xue Lingtian looked at Lin Rei and asked. Because I'm strong. You don't want to accept it? A look of, if you don't accept it, come and fight me. Bastard. Seeing Lin Rei like this, Xue Lingtian felt stifled. He cursed inwardly but immediately agreed. Okay, I'm most willing to do this. PFFF, seeing Xue Lingtian like this, Lu Changtian couldn't help but laugh. It wasn't that Lu Changtian was easily amused. It was just that this was the first time he saw Xue Lingtian being humiliated like this. It was hard for him not to be unhappy. Are you leaving or not? Whether it was because Lin Rei was beside him or something else, Xue Lingtian roared at Lu Changtian's laughter. Then, he twisted his huge body and rushed towards the exit of the Divine Valley. Okay, hurry up and follow him. Sensing the look on Blood Lingtian's face, Linli chuckled, not minding. He spoke to the nearby Lu Changtian. I understand, master. Lu Changtian didn't waste any more words. Seeing that Xue Lingtian's figure was about to disappear from sight, Lu Changtian used all his cultivation and used the butterfly steps that Lin Rei taught him to chase after him. Let's go. I'm afraid this place will be quiet soon. Feeling the silence, Lin Rei felt that something was missing. Usually, when Xue Lingtian and Lu Changtian fought each other, it was very lively and he didn't feel anything. But now that the two of them had suddenly left, the quiet surroundings made Lin Rei feel a little uncomfortable. The Sword Sect. The Sword Sect was very lively at this moment. Of course, it wasn't because of some kind of happy event, but because the 1 year's time was up. The thing they were most worried about had come. In the Sword Sect ceremonial hall, the sect master and the elders gathered together. The atmosphere was very solemn. Among them, the most worried person was Wang Yun, who had seen Lin Rei fight back then. He didn't have the slightest bit of resistance against Lin Rei's strength. He knew very well how powerful Lin Rei was. Not to mention that there was no one present who could fight against Lin Rei. It was wishful thinking to be able to survive a single attack from Lin Rei. Junior brother Wang Yun, do you think that powerhouse will really come? Jian Lingzi broke the silence. That's right, junior brother Wang Yun. Because of the news you brought back, we were on tenterhooks for an entire year. Are you sure that the powerhouse will really come back? Perhaps we can ask this. Are you sure that the powerhouse is very powerful, so powerful that we aren't his match? At that moment, doubtful voices sounded one after another. Looking at everyone's reaction, Wang Yun was taken aback. He understood what they were thinking. Sigh. He let out a long sigh. Senior brothers, it would be great if this matter was as you said. If you were there back then, you would understand how I felt back then. Even now, I feel that I'm really lucky to be able to survive back then. What he said was true. Now that Wang Yun thought about the situation back then, he felt that it was fortunate to be able to survive back then. Fortunately, he didn't act rashly back then. Otherwise, not to mention standing here safe and sound, he wouldn't have been able to bring back the news that Lin Rei was going to the Sword Sect. This, everyone frowned, and their expressions were solemn. If what Wang Yun said was true, then, this matter would be difficult to handle. After all, who in the entire Sword Sect could be a match for him? Senior brother sect leader, what should we do now? That's right. Senior brother, if what junior brother Wang Yun said is true, how should our sword sect face such a powerhouse? Senior brother sect leader, how do you think we should handle this matter? After all, this concerns the destruction of the sword sect. This is a big matter. Do you think we need to ask the patriarchs for instructions? As soon as this was said, everyone's gaze landed on the last person who spoke, including Ling Jianzi. Upon hearing this, Ling Jianzi, who was the sect leader, fell silent. The sword sect had 3 patriarchs. As they had been in seclusion for a long time, very few people knew of their existence. However, as the higher-ups of the sword sect, they knew very well how powerful the 3 patriarchs of the sword sect were. However, what gave Ling Jianzi a headache was that the 3 patriarchs had said before they went into seclusion that no matter what happened, they were not to disturb them. If they disturbed them because of this matter that they didn't know was true, the consequences would be obvious. Chapter 1029. Senior Martial Brother, the survival of the sect is the most important thing. As for the rest, we will shoulder it together after this matter is over. Right now, the most important thing is to protect the sect. That's right. Senior Martial Brother Sect Master, the survival of the sect is the most important thing. Although we are not sure if the other party will come, it's always good to be prepared in advance. What's left is nothing. After all, this matter concerns the survival of the sect. We don't dare to be careless in the slightest. You all. Ling Jianzi was stunned when he saw the reactions of his fellow disciples. The troubled expression on his face disappeared as his gaze fell on Wang Yun. Junior Martial Brother Wang Yun, you were the first to inform us of this matter. I wonder if you can make a trip with me. After all, you are the one who knows the most about this matter. You see, as soon as Ling Jianzi said that, the remaining elders of the sect all gathered their gazes on Wang Yun. Their eyes were filled with pleading as if they were afraid that Wang Yun would not go with them. Looking at the crowd, Wang Yun understood their worries. Senior Martial Brother Sect Master, you don't have to say anything about this matter. Everyone seemed to have misunderstood Wang Yun's meaning. When they heard Wang Yun's words, their expressions changed. Well, what I mean is, even if Senior Martial Brother Sect Master didn't say anything, I would still go with you. After all, I was the one who knew about this matter first. Furthermore, I still hope to be on good terms with the other party. I believe that even if the 3 old ancestors were to come out, they would not be a match for that expert. Therefore, we still have to look at this matter from the perspective of seeking peace. What? Everyone agreed. Although they were not very clear about the strength of the sect's old ancestors, their legends had always been circulating in the sect. It was said that the 3 of them were once from the Central Province continent. Furthermore, it seemed that the Sword Sect was also a branch of the Central Province continent. Of course, other than the 3 old ancestors, only Ling Jianzi, the sect master, knew about this matter. Of course, the 3 ancestors that Wang Yun mentioned were no match for that person. This made them even more curious about the expert that Wang Yun mentioned. Why had they never heard of such a person before? Similarly, fear was born along with curiosity. It was like a maggot in one's bones, impossible to get rid of. Alas! Wang Yun understood the shock in everyone's hearts very well. Let's not talk about this matter for now. As for how powerful that person is, let's wait for him or Lu Changtian to come before we know. Previously, Lu Changtian's cultivation was only at the level of a martial general. Looking at how strong Lu Changtian is now, if it's really as that person said, that Lu Changtian can challenge the entire sword sect in 1 year, I'm afraid of what? Seeing Wang Yun pause, Ling Jianzi asked curiously. If that's really the case, then our sect is in danger. After all, the dignity of an expert can't be trampled on, and their words can't be changed. Everyone was speechless. Everyone was speechless at Wang Yun's words. At this moment, apart from worry and fear, they didn't show anything else on their faces. Alright, let's end this matter here. From now on, everyone should be careful and keep an eye on your disciples. During this period of time, don't cause any trouble. If anyone violates the order this time, there's no need to say anything. Just abolish their cultivation and expel them from the sect. Looking at the elders below, Ling Jianzi continued, it's the same even for your personal disciples. You don't have to plead for leniency, understand? The elders, who understood the seriousness of the matter, nodded obediently. We understand. Ling Jianzi nodded in satisfaction at the response of the junior brothers and then waved his hand. All of you may leave. Don't tell the disciples about this matter first, lest they panic. Yes, we'll take our leave. Go. After everyone said that, they bowed respectfully and turned to leave the main hall, heading to their respective palaces. Of course, apart from Ling Jianzi, Wang Yun was the only one who didn't leave the main hall. Senior brother, although this matter is ultimately based on seeking peace, we can't guarantee that the other party won't stop. In this case, we still have to think about the issue of the inheritance of the disciples. After everyone left, Wang Yun spoke to Ling Jianzi. This was a problem that he had been considering. After all, if the sect was really destroyed, what would happen to the inheritance of the sect? If there was no inheritance of such a huge sect, it would mean that the sect had completely disappeared from this domain and become an inconspicuous grain of sand in the long river of history. Wang Yun didn't want to see this happen. Although the Sword Sect wasn't the strongest sect in the entire domain, it was still a large sect with a legacy of thousands of years. Yes. Junior brother Wang Yun's words make sense. He had also thought about this problem, but he couldn't figure out who exactly should inherit this huge responsibility. In that case, does senior brother sect leader already have someone in mind, or have you thought about what to do? Wang Yun was curious. This. Ling Jianzi didn't deliberately hide anything from Wang Yun. Junior brother, to tell you the truth, although I've thought about this matter, I don't know who to let inherit this inheritance. Although there are many outstanding disciples in the sect, you also understand their thoughts. Not everyone is like this, but it's possible that there are people from other sects or wealthy families in the secular world, kingdoms, and dynasties among them. There are many ancient books in the sect. If they are passed to the secular world, you can imagine what kind of disaster it will bring. Hearing this, Wang Yun fell silent. He understood the importance of this. After all, if the sect's cultivation method was obtained by the royal family of a secular kingdom or dynasty, they would use the cultivation method to create an army of cultivators. In the end, the only ones who would suffer would be those weak ordinary people. In this way, the final karma would be counted on the heads of the Sword Sect, and it would never disappear. If that's the case, then, okay, let's not talk about this matter for now. Wang Yun seemed to want to say something, but he was interrupted by Ling Jianzi as soon as he opened his mouth. Let's go and meet the three ancestors together. The sooner we let them know about this matter, the better it will be for the Sword Sect. Well, okay. Wang Yun nodded. As for what he wanted to say before, he didn't say it after being interrupted. Let's go. Ling Jianzi said. Then, his figure turned into a stream of light and disappeared on the spot. Wang Yun was stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses and chased after him. At this moment, the two of them didn't know that just as they were thinking about how to solve this matter, the thing and person they were most afraid of had already arrived. Not far from the Sword Sect, in a city called Dreamcloud City, Lu Changtian was sitting by the window in a restaurant in the city. There was a hesitant expression on his face. Regarding the task Lin Rui gave him, to be honest, he was really unwilling to start a massacre. After all, those people didn't have any deep hatred with the two of them. Even if there was a deep hatred, it wouldn't involve the entire sect. Although the Sword Sect was no longer a lofty existence in his heart after he met Lin Rei, the Sword Sect didn't usually do all kinds of evil. They also didn't condone their disciples to bully men and tyrannize the world, kill people and rob them. Toward such a sect, he couldn't do it. However, he couldn't disobey his master's orders. If he disobeyed the first task Lin Rei gave him because of this matter, then it would be a little unreasonable. *CK, so annoying. He grumbled. Then, he picked up the wine on the table and took a big gulp. He raised his hand and sent out a spiritual seal. A paper crane formed by spiritual energy floated in the air. Seeing the paper crane form, a smile appeared on his face. As expected, Master's cultivation method is too powerful. I'm afraid that even ordinary martial emperors can't do this. Lu Changtian was wrong about this. It wasn't that ordinary martial emperors couldn't do it. Even the martial god couldn't condense a spiritual crane. After all, this method was only used by cultivators. As for martial cultivators, they just used the simplest method, which was to use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to temper their bodies. Even if they could absorb spiritual energy, it was only the origin energy separated from the spiritual energy. Looking at the spiritual crane, Lu Changtian said, "Elder Wang Yun, I'm Lu Changtian. I'm currently in Dreamcloud City's Dreamcloud restaurant. Why don't you come and see me if you have time?" After saying that, he waved his hand. The spiritual crane turned into a stream of light and rushed toward Wang Yun. Lu Changtian hadn't completely understood the spiritual crane's discovery. Similarly, he didn't know how fast the spiritual crane was. Swoosh, a stream of light streaked across the sky above the Sword Sect. At this time, no one was idle. Even the elders of the sect didn't notice it. At the back mountain of the Sword Sect, Ling Jianzi flew quickly and rushed toward the forbidden area of the Sword Sect. "Junior brother, hurry up, Ling Jianzi, who was flying for 1,000 years, felt a wave of fluctuation behind him. He turned his head and saw a stream of light rushing down from the sky. It rushed to Wang Yun at a speed that couldn't be followed by the naked eye and stopped in front of her. The appearance of this scene shocked Ling Jianzi. What kind of means and what kind of realm was this to be able to do something like this? The spirit crane had flown here to look for Wang Yun, and the sect's grand array did not even put up any resistance. This made him feel very surprised. After all, he was in control of the sect's large array. If there were any changes in the large array, he would be the first to know. But now, the thing in front of him had arrived in front of the two of them, but the sect's large array didn't fluctuate at all. Fortunately, this was a paper crane. If it had been a shrinking cultivator, it would have been terrible. As he thought about it, cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He didn't dare to imagine the consequences of such a phenomenon. Seeing the spiritual crane land in front of him, Wang Yun hesitated. He was wondering if he should catch it, but at the same time, he was afraid of danger. After all, there were very few people in the world who could do this. At the very least, he had never heard of or seen such a person. "Elder Wang Yun, I'm Lu Changtian. I'm currently at the Kaiyun restaurant in Yunmeng City. Why don't you come and see me when you have the time?" Just as Wang Yun was hesitating whether to catch it or not, Lu Changtian's voice exploded in Wang Yun's mind. "What? It's really here." Upon hearing this news, Wang Yun's mind buzzed and went blank. He had wanted to put up a defense previously, but he didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Seeing that his junior brother was in a daze, a hint of worry surged in his heart. "Junior brother? Junior brother, you're awake. Senior brother, you can go to the patriarch's place by yourself. I have an urgent matter and have to go there." I can't leave. That's all. I'll leave first. After coming back to his senses, he said to Ling Jianzi, who was beside him. Then, he turned around and rushed to the sect's gate as fast as he could. Looking at Wang Yun who disappeared, Ling Jianzi was in a daze. He had mixed feelings in his heart. Although he didn't know why Wang Yun was so anxious, he vaguely guessed that it should have something to do with the spirit crane that appeared just now. I hope nothing bad will happen to him, he prayed in his heart. Then, without thinking too much, he turned around and rushed to his destination again. As for Wang Yun, after receiving Lu Changtian's message, he rushed to Dreamy Cloud City without stopping for a moment. He didn't dare to stop at all on the way. It was not that he didn't want to, but he couldn't. Because this might be related to the survival of the sect, so, a few hours later, Wang Yun finally arrived at Kaiyun Restaurant in Dreamy Cloud City. He walked into the restaurant and glanced at everyone present. Finally, his eyes fixed on Lu Changtian who was sitting by the window. A smile appeared on his face as he walked over. If someone looked carefully, they would see that behind that smile, there was melancholy and worry. You're here. Sensing that someone was approaching, he turned his head and saw Wang Yun's figure. He smiled and waved his hand to greet him. Nodding his head, Wang Yun sat opposite Lu Changtian. His eyes fell on the other party. His original expression disappeared and was replaced by shock, and disbelief. How is it possible? Your cultivation. Wang Yun noticed that Lu Changtian's cultivation was unfathomable to him. Even Lu Changtian was like an insurmountable mountain in front of him. This was an earth-shaking change from Lu Changtian a year ago. A year ago, the two of them were in the same realm. At that time, Wang Yun was very confident that he could defeat Lu Changtian. But, now, not to mention defeating Lu Changtian, Wang Yun felt that Lu Changtian could kill him with just one finger. This change made Wang Yun feel a little speechless. Of course, there was jealousy, but there was no hatred. After all, this was the result of their own efforts. He did not blame the heavens or the earth. He only wished that he was incapable. Who asked him to be incapable? It's nothing. I'm cultivating with my master. This little improvement is nothing. After all, in my master's eyes, I'm so weak. Lu Changtian did not lie about this. It really happened. Your master is really strong. At this moment, Wang Yun's heart was in turmoil. He had mixed feelings. It's all right. When he thought of how his cultivation had grown by being tortured, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly, and his expression became unnatural. Let's not talk about it anymore. He did not want to mention Lin Rui anymore. After all, whenever he mentioned Lu Changtian, he would feel endless hatred. His gaze became serious again. I think you should understand the purpose of my visit this time. A year ago, my master said that he would let me come to the Sword Sect and destroy it. At that time, you thought it was a joke. But now, you can see that I'm here, so. Is there no other way? Chapter 1030. He understood the current situation, but he still wanted to fight for it. After all, he didn't see Lin Rui here. At the very least, this was a good sign. No. However, to Wang Yun's disappointment, Lu Changtian's answer was unexpected. This is master's decision. I can't go against it, so I'll go back and do it. Of course, for the sake of our past friendship, I can give you a few days to rebuild the Sword Sect. This is the biggest step I can take now. Looking at Wang Yun, a trace of guilt flashed across his face. I've given you a chance. I hope you can grasp it. Of course, you can stay in the Sword Sect for the next few days. You can even come here, but the sword sect must be destroyed. Otherwise, I won't be able to answer to Master. Wang Yun fell silent. He understood that these were the best conditions Wang Yun could give. If it were Lin Rei who came here personally, not to mention giving them time, they would be lucky if he didn't destroy them directly. Understanding Wang Yun's depression, Lu Changtian changed the topic and picked up his glass to chat. Let's not talk about this for now. Let's drink. We haven't seen each other in a long time. How have you been? Recently. Looking at Lu Changtian, he wanted to say that he was worried because of his arrival, but he knew that it would be inappropriate for him to say that. Nothing much. I've been taking care of things and teaching the disciples cultivation every day. He tilted his head back and drank. A spicy feeling made him temporarily forget the depression in his heart. What about you? You've exhausted so much of your cultivation. I think you must have gone to some incredible place. I remember Senior Lin saying that he would go to the Divine Valley. You guys are, yes. That's right. In response to Lu Changtian's question, Lu Changtian didn't hide anything. For the past year, I have indeed been cultivating with Master in the depths of the Divine Valley. Tisk tsk, that life is still fresh in my mind every day. Thinking about his life in the past year, Lu Changtian couldn't help but shudder. In his eyes, those days were like the devil's. No, it was even more demonic than the devil's. It was simply not a life that a human should live. Is he really like Kamitani? Originally, Wang Yun had just said it casually, but he didn't expect Lu Changtian's response to be true. This made him even more shocked. Seiji knew about the Divine Valley. As a place of death, there was probably no one who didn't know about it. As for the rumors about the land of death, he was well aware of them. So, when he heard that Lin Rei and Lu Changtian had actually entered Kamitani and were doing so well, he was shocked. Especially when Lu Changtian's cultivation was so strong, he was even more jealous. After all, everyone wanted to have a strong cultivation. Faced with Wang Yun's surprise, Lu Changtian seemed to have already prepared for this. Indeed, although there are many rumors about Kamitani, when you enter, you will discover that it is completely different from the outside world. Inside, it can be said that there are dangers everywhere. If you are not careful, you will be torn apart by the monster beasts. Especially after reaching the middle of Kamitani, let alone entering the middle of Kamitani, it is troublesome to even pass through the outer area. Listening to Lu Changtian's words, Seiji really had the impulse to go and investigate. However, there were still things that had not been resolved yet, so he couldn't leave. However, he had already made up his mind. After this matter was over, he must make a trip to Kamitani. Although there were many rumors outside, in order to improve himself, he was willing to go all out. Just like this, Lu Changtian began to tell Wang Yun everything that happened to him in Kamitani, including how he was ravaged by Lin Rei every day, without missing a single word. Of course, there might be some things that he couldn't say, so he didn't mention it. Wang Yun also understood this, so he didn't ask too much. Time passed as the two talked. The originally scorching sun in the sky dimmed at this moment, and the touch of white on the horizon made the entire bounded domain mysterious. Unknowingly, night came. The night wind was always so cool, causing people's bodies to tremble. Well, Brother Lu, let's end it here today. I have to go back and discuss with Senior Brother Sect Leader. We should deal with it as we wish. After saying that, he stared at Lu Changtian. Brother Lu, when do you plan to enter my sword sect? Lu Changtian was silent. To be honest, he hadn't thought of a specific time. After all, he was also very hesitant about this matter. And, that's right. As the host, shouldn't you be waiting with good tea? Ha ha ha, Wang Yun's laughter filled the entire room, but if one listened carefully, one could hear the bitterness in his laughter. Okay. Lu Changtian nodded and responded, since Elder Wang is so hospitable, I must give face and go as soon as possible. After saying that, Lu Changtian cupped his hands and walked outside. As for Wang Yun, he also stayed in place and didn't leave. Originally, he said that he was going to leave, but before he could react, Lu Changtian had already disappeared. After watching Lu Changtian disappear, Wang Yun chose to leave. In the Sword Sect's main hall, Lu Changtian told Ling Jianzi everything that happened today. Senior brother Sect leader, this is what happened. Today, Lu Changtian has already said that he will give the South Gate some time. What do you think about this matter? Wang Yun's face flashed with a touch of embarrassment. Well, this matter really needs to be considered carefully. Coincidentally, I went to look for the three ancestors today. Who knew that after going there, I found out that the residence of the three ancestors was covered in dust. Obviously, they haven't come back for a long time. Is that so? Hearing this, Wang Yun frowned, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. However, he wasn't too surprised. After all, he didn't have much hope. Then what should we do? In 2 days, Lu Changtian will arrive. If the ancestors are not here, then our sect will really be destroyed. I see that Lu Changtian's will is resolute, so this matter might be more serious than we thought. Although I know you have your plans, we still have to speed up the progress of the successor. After all, we are now in a race against time. There is not much time left for us. Well, I understand. Ling Jianzi nodded repeatedly. After all, Wang Yun now had the right to talk about this matter. Well, in that case, I'll go first. After saying that, Wang Yun left without looking back. He left the main hall and returned to the main hall where he was to deal with the matter. Of course, the matter he was dealing with was nothing more than telling his disciples to leave the sect and return to their families to cultivate. Without his summons, they were not allowed to return to the sect. Similarly, such a situation occurred in other places of the Sword Sect. Although they didn't want to leave, the disciples under them were innocent. They didn't want these weak disciples to bear the burden with them. In the distant divine world, in the chaos divine realm, there was an endless dark space. Of course, this was a place that was not recorded anywhere in the divine world. It wasn't because he was very mysterious, but because this place had just appeared recently. No one knew about it. The Chaos Divine Realm was in a mountain range in the southeast corner of the 9th region of the Divine World. There was nothing in the Chaos Divine Realm, but in the center of the Chaos Divine Realm, a young man was lying in the center. His eyes were closed, his complexion was rosy, and his breathing was smooth. If an unknown person saw him, they would think that the young man was sleeping. However, that wasn't the case. If Ruo Lin Lei saw the young man's face here, he would definitely jump up in excitement. He would use his soul to leave his body, and then merge his soul into the body of the young man who was lying on an altar. It was because the young man lying on the altar was Lin Rei's original body. System, tell me how long Lin Rei's time is up. Don't forget that Lin Rei doesn't have much time left. He still has to enter the holy world. Moreover, you didn't say that the place you would send Lin Rei to is the age of chaos where spiritual energy is scarce. In the system space, the little dragon woke up from its deep sleep. When it found out about Lin Rei's recent situation, it was furious. This was because Lin Rei's current situation was something it didn't expect. It originally thought that the system would send Lin Rei to a planet with abundant spiritual energy, or at least enough to support Lin Rei's cultivation. However, when it heard that the place the system sent Lin Rei to was actually a planet with an extreme lack of spiritual energy, where even cultivation was a problem, the little dragon was unwilling. Heh, what's wrong? Does your heart ache? The system teased. Nonsense, doesn't your heart ache? The little dragon asked back, you clearly know that Lin Rei's cultivation method requires the last bit of spiritual energy to be able to cultivate. However, you didn't send Lin Rei to a better planet to cultivate, but you sent him to a place where even birds don't shit. You're afraid that he won't be able to return within the stipulated time and will run over here to be obliterated by the system, right? The more it spoke, the more agitated Lin Rei became. It was very worried about Lin Rei's current situation. It was worried that Lin Rei couldn't eat well, worried that Lin Rei was distressed because of the lack of spiritual energy. As the little dragon who could be said to have single-handedly raised Lin Rei, it was very distressed for the little dragon's current situation. Huh, you. The system laughed, what did I do? You still have the nerve to laugh. The little dragon was furious at the system's behavior. Ha ha ha, the more the little dragon was like this, the happier the system laughed. Alright, you don't have to worry about this matter. If Lin Rei can't even overcome this little difficulty, then what will he do in the future? You have to understand, the future Lin Rei will enter that kind of place. That kind of place isn't as good as the place Lin Rei is currently in. Then this matter is still too early. Isn't it a little too early for you to start training Lin Rei after eating? After all, if Lin Rei wants to cultivate to that kind of place, it's impossible without hundreds of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years. You're a little too early. Is it early? Looking at the little dragon, the system's tone was very decisive. I don't think it's early at all. On the contrary, it's just right for him to start from now. Alright. As if not wanting to continue this topic, before the little dragon could finish speaking, it interrupted. You don't have to worry about this matter anymore. If you have the time, you might as well use it to cultivate and recover a bit of your strength. When you really return, you'll have the strength to protect Lin Rei. Now, let this little guy go on his own. As for the mission given by the system, don't worry. With me around, you don't have to worry about the little dragon being obliterated by the system. Hearing this, the little dragon, who was originally filled with dissatisfaction, fell silent and did not refute. Alright, do as you see fit. However, you have to remember, nothing can happen to Lin Rei. Otherwise, I won't let you go, even though I know you're very strong. After saying this, the little dragon's figure disappeared. This guy is still as stubborn as before. Looking at the place where the little dragon disappeared, the system said. Then it fell silent. No one knew what had happened in the antediluvian realm of gods. Not even Linley himself knew. In the Divine Valley. Deep in the Divine Valley, Lin Rei was sitting on a mountain peak, looking in the direction of the Sword Sect. A trace of nostalgia flashed across his face. This little guy left. Thinking about it, he should have reached the Sword Sect by now. Probably, but... At this time, Xueling Tian, who was lying behind Lin Rei, spoke. Are you sure that little guy will listen to you and destroy the Sword Sect? Hearing this, Lin Rei looked back at Xueling Tian with a playful expression. Don't you know that kid? You want him to destroy a sect for no reason, do you think he can do it? In any case, I don't believe it. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Xueling Tian was stunned. Then before you let him, Xueling Tian was confused by Lin Rei's words. He did not understand what Lin Rei meant. You. Looking at Xueling Tian's ignorant face, Lin Rei turned into a lecturer and began to speak to Xueling Tian. The reason I let him go is not to kill people, let alone the entire sect. If he really destroyed the Sword Sect because of my words, would not hesitate to cripple his cultivation. What? You? Xueling Tian was stunned. He did not expect Lin Rei to say this. And looking at Lin Rei's serious expression, it did not seem like he was lying. Are you surprised? Lin Rei asked. Yes. Xue Lingtian nodded subconsciously. Actually, there is no need to be so surprised. Of course, killing people is still necessary. After all, they provoked me first. But I only killed 2 or 3 of them. A smile flashed across his face. You are ruthless. Xue Lingtian had thoroughly experienced Lin Rei's treachery today. But thinking about what if Lu Changtian really listened to him and destroyed the Sword Sect, then, what if he really destroyed the Sword Sect and came back to report to you? You are also, not right? Seeing Lin Rei finish his sentence, Xue Lingtian nodded and replied, yes, you are the one who ordered me to do it. Now that he has completed it, you want to cripple his cultivation. You are also unreasonable. Ha. You must know that I, Linley, want a benevolent and decisive disciple. Right now, I am training him to be benevolent and decisive. If he can't even pass this stage, then there is no need for him to become my disciple. Because he does not have the qualifications. F***ck, at this moment, Xue Lingtian could not help but shiver. He had a new understanding of Lin Rei's treachery. You are too ruthless. Chapter 1031. Really? I think it's okay. After joking, he stopped talking and fell into silence. In response to this, blood Lingtian quivered, then retreated from Linley's body, charging off into the distance. He only had one thought now. He must not offend Lin Rei. Otherwise, he would be killed or on his way to be killed. For days passed in the blink of an eye. In Dreamcloud City, Lu Changtian had waited for so many days. To the people of the Sword Sect, he had done his best. Sitting in the restaurant, he raised his head and looked at the people coming and going outside the window. A trace of melancholy flashed across his face. It's time to move around. Thinking that he was about to go to the Sword Sect, his heart was very heavy. After all, he was not going there for sightseeing. He was going there to kill people. Logically speaking, as a cultivator, killing people shouldn't be a big problem for him. However, he was different. After all, he used to be a city lord. It was inevitable that there would be some hurdles in his heart that he couldn't get over. He got up and threw the gold coin to the ground. Then, he walked out of the restaurant and looked at the Sword Sect. Then, he walked toward the Sword Sect. He didn't walk very fast so that he could give the people of the Sword Sect the opportunity and time to do so. What he didn't know was that after he exited the inn, his whereabouts were completely different from the time he was in Sword's Gate. The moment he stepped out of the restaurant, his message was sent out by Shun Jian to the higher-ups of the Sword Sect. At this moment, in the main hall of the Sword Sect, all the elders and sect master of the sect were gathered. However, the scene was different from usual. It was weirder and more depressing. Moreover, each of the elders had a gloomy and worried expression. They were worried and afraid. They were afraid of what would happen to the Sword Sect after Lu Changtian arrived. Would it be the Azura battlefield or hell on earth? Would their Sword's Gate be destroyed just like that? Junior Marshal Brother Xiao, we just received news that Lu Changtian has left the restaurant. I don't think I need to tell you where he is going. You should know, right? We understand. Since that's the case, everyone. How about following me to welcome them at the myriad mountain gates? Although the other party is here to kill, as the elders of the Sword Sect, we naturally cannot lose our hospitality. Everyone nodded in agreement. That's right, we'll listen to senior brother sect leader's arrangements. Seeing that his junior brothers did not refute him, Ling Jianzi nodded with relief. In that case, come with me. Yes, we will obey. Everyone cupped their hands and followed Ling Jianzi toward the mountain gate. During the journey, the number of disciples in the Sword Sect decreased significantly. In the past, the disciples of the Sword Sect could be seen sitting together to discuss sword Tao and cultivation, but now, alas. Ling Jianzi sighed. His face was full of dejection. He had never thought that his Sword Sect would have such a day. Thinking back to the glory of the Sword Sect in the past, it was just a pipe dream. The group moved very quickly and arrived in front of the mountain gate. The two disciples who had been guarding the mountain gate were standing upright and doing their duty. When they heard footsteps behind them, the two of them turned their heads to look. When the two of them turned their heads and saw the appearance of the person who came, they were shocked and hurriedly bowed. Disciple Lu Hai from Guangzhong greets sect leader and elders. Well, you're not bad. Looking at the two of them, Ling Jianzi's expression eased a little. Looking at his disciples, although their cultivation was not satisfactory, he could guarantee that their character was solid. This was also the reason why the Sword Sect was established. The Sword Sect did not care how powerful the sect was. As the saying went, it could accommodate all rivers. The Sword Sect could tolerate your poor talent, but not your bad character. Thank you for your praise, sect leader. Hearing Ling Jianzi's praise, the two disciples' faces bloomed with joy. At this moment, if they were asked to stand here for a few more years or decades, they would probably be able to do it. Well, keep up the good work. After saying that, Ling Jianzi stopped talking and went out of the mountain gate. He came to a conspicuous open space and waited. Behind him, the two of them were stunned when they saw their sect leader and all the elders gathering so many people. Lu Hai, who do you think the sect leader and the elders are waiting for? Guanzhong's voice sounded in Lu Hai's mind. This. He also wanted to know the answer to his companion's question. It was also his first time seeing such a scene. It should be a big shot coming. Thinking about it, Guanzhong did not want to let the other party see that he did not know anything, so he just said casually. However, perhaps even Guanzhong himself had not thought that he had guessed correctly. Time passed by little by little. In the blink of an eye, it was already morning. The person Ling Jianzi was waiting for still had not come. However, they did not have the slightest dissatisfaction in their hearts. What's going on? Didn't Lu Changtian leave the dreamy cloud city? Looking at Wang Yun, Ling Jianzi transmitted his voice. It's reasonable to say that it's only half a day's journey from the dreamy cloud city to here. Moreover, Lu Changtian has such a high cultivation. Ling Jianzi's doubts were exactly what he was puzzled about at this moment. Just like what Ling Jianzi said, it was reasonable to say that with Lu Changtian's cultivation, he would come here for at most 2 to 4 hours, or even more. Why was there no trace of him now? Could it be that he got lost? This idea was rejected as soon as it was born. It was impossible for Lu Changtian not to know that Lu Changtian had come to the Sword Sect in the past. Moreover, he was the one who received him, so it was impossible for him to get lost. Since he was not lost, then why? For a moment, Wang Yun could not figure out Lu Changtian. While the Sword Sect leader and elders were waiting for Lu Changtian was sitting on the ground on a mountain peak not far from the Sword Sect. In front of a bonfire, Lu Changtian held a chicken that was almost roasted in his hand. However, although Lu Changtian seemed to be roasting the chicken, his eyes had been fixed in the direction of the Sword Sect. Yes, he was stalling for time, trying to buy more time for the Sword Sect. He was soft-hearted. Really, I don't know what Master is thinking. Why did he ask me to come and exterminate the sect? He knows that I used to be the city lord, and I can't stand violence and killing the most. Thinking of the mission Lin Rei gave him, Lu Changtian was very conflicted. Forget it, let's eat first. We'll talk about it when we reach the Sword Sect. I've already given them so much time, I think they should have left by now. After saying that, the chicken was roasted and he picked it up to eat. If Wang Yun and Ling Jianzi saw this scene at this moment, they would probably faint from anger. They were a little cold in front of the mountain gate, but he was eating roasted chicken. However, if they knew what Lu Changtian was thinking, they would not be angered to death. Instead, they would be very grateful. After all, Lu Changtian was doing this for the sake of the Sword Sect's disciples. The moon was bright and the stars were shining. In the blink of an eye, night came. The sky was shrouded in darkness, and Ling Jianzi and the others were still waiting quietly. However, at this moment, Ling Jianzi and the others were no longer as calm as before. Some of them had already begun to complain. Really, if you want to come, then come. If you don't want to come, then don't come. Why are you taking so long? Aren't you just letting us roast over the fire? Yeah, I really don't know what the other party is thinking. Then, one person spoke, followed by another. Ling Jianzi wanted to say something, but when he thought of the other party's behavior, he acquiesced to their discussion. Among the few people, only Wang Yun did not participate in the discussion. He knew how powerful the other party was, and he also knew that the other party was not coming because of something. Moreover, we were willing to wait, not because the other party suggested it. Now that you can't wait, you're complaining. Are you crazy? These were just Wang Yun's own thoughts. As for why he said it out loud, sorry, was he kidding? If he said it out loud, would he still want to stay in the sect in the future? However, Wang Yun's head was about to explode when he heard everyone's words behind him. For a moment, he couldn't help but shout angrily. Shut up, all of you. If you don't want to wait, go back to your own mountain. No one asked you to wait here. However, since you've chosen to wait, then wait obediently and quietly. Don't keep chattering behind me like a sissy. Aren't you ashamed? As soon as these words came out, the scene instantly fell silent. Behind them, the two people from Guangzhou were shocked and they heard Elder Wang Yun's sudden words. The scene was quiet. Ling Jianzi, who was at the side, was also stunned by Wang Yun's anger. He didn't expect Wang Yun, who usually looked weak, to be so strong now. Clap, 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 the silence was broken by a sudden round of applause. Not bad. I didn't expect the Sword Sect to be like this. I've learned something today. Just as everyone was in a daze, a teasing voice came from afar. It could be heard that there was a hint in this voice. Huh. The sudden voice pulled everyone back to reality from their daze. They turned their heads and focused their gazes in the direction of the voice. You are, looking at the smiling young man in the distance, Ling Jianzi subconsciously spoke. However, he regretted it as soon as he spoke. Wasn't this King obvious? Why did he ask such a stupid question? Wang Yun, who was at the side, looked at Lu Changtian. After being stunned for a moment, he smiled bitterly. You still came. Yes. I can't help it. I can't disobey my master's orders. Lu Changtian wouldn't do anything to Wang Yun. After all, Lu Changtian was very clear about his character. As for those people who were talking about him just now, it was hard to say. At this moment, the elders of the Sword Sect standing behind Wang Yun could tell from the words of the two that the young man in front of them was the person who came to destroy the sect. They looked at Lu Changtian with curiosity and vigilance. Their gazes began to size up. It's nothing. Why does junior brother Wang Yun seem to be very strong? Middle stage martial general. That's all. It seems that junior brother Wang Yun is overthinking. He wants to destroy our Sword Sect with such a cultivation base. He's really delusional. Of course, these words were just in their hearts. They didn't say it out loud. As the saying goes, the older you get, the wiser you are. Leave a way out for yourself in the future. They wouldn't say such desperate words out loud. Ignoring the curious gazes of the crowd, he slowly walked to Wang Yun's side and transmitted his voice. How is it? How many disciples of your sword sect have left? Isn't it time for me to complete my mission? Hearing this, Wang Yun looked troubled. Some of the disciples of the sword sect had left, but some of them were unwilling to leave this scene that was etched in their minds. Why? Wang Yun's hesitation made Lu Changtian's heart skip a beat. A bad premonition surged in his heart. Although the disciples of the sect have left, less than 1/10 of the total number of disciples in the sect are still standing. Tell me, how should we deal with this? As soon as he said this, Lu Changtian knew that he couldn't make a move in today's battle. He originally thought that it would be easier for him to make a move after the disciples of the sword sect had left. But now, although they had left, what was the difference between this and not having them? Thinking about it, he felt that it was very troublesome. He would rather be tortured by Lin Rei. At least this way, it was simple and he could be loyal. Why don't we go to the sword sect and sit for a while first? As for this matter, how about we talk about it during dinner? Knowing that Lu Changtian was in a difficult position, Wang Yun quickly spoke up. Well, that's the only way now. Looking at Wang Yun, Lu Changtian knew that he had to roll his eyes. At this moment, he couldn't tolerate it anymore. The disciples had not been evacuated and there were so many people in the sect. If he really made a move to kill a disciple of the sword sect, he was afraid that he would be hunted down by the other sects in the domain and be accused of being an evil cultivator. That's great. Seeing that Lu Changtian was temporarily settled, Ling Jianzi immediately gave Wang Yun a thumbs up. He was getting more and more used to this junior brother of his. At this moment, Wang Yun felt much more relaxed. Lu Changtian didn't pay attention to Ling Jianzi's words. Instead, he followed Wang Yun to the sword sect and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Sigh, another one that I can't afford to offend. Ling Jianzi's impression of Lu Changtian had decreased a lot in his heart. Let's go, let's follow them. Seeing that Wang Yun and Lu Changtian's figures had disappeared, Ling Jianzi said to the rest of the junior brothers and then followed them. Soon, the originally bustling entrance of the sect, after everyone had left, the two gatekeepers finally dared to breathe. Damn it, I'm suffocating. Isn't that so? But who was that young man who appeared just now? Why were the sect leader and elders so respectful to him? Even Elder Wang Yun was so respectful in front of Lu Changtian. This question made the two people dumbfounded, and their expressions were full of confusion. Let's not think about it. Who cares who he is, anyway? This matter is not something that we can handle. Well, I agree. The two people nodded at the same time. Then, they no longer had the chance to think about what had happened just now and shifted all their attention elsewhere. In the sword sect, Wang Yun brought Lu Changtian directly to his residence. He thought that the servants would cook, but Lu Changtian didn't expect that the person who cooked in the end was Lu Changtian, a martial cultivator at the martial general level. Are you sure the food you cooked is edible? Lu Changtian couldn't eat Wang Yun's food. After all, he had never eaten Lu Changtian's food before. However, Ling Jianzi was different. Chapter 1032. Senior, let's just wait. Ling Jianzi suddenly appeared in front of Lin Rei and said, Senior, let's just wait. Oh. Seeing Ling Jianzi's action, Lu Changtian vaguely understood something and looked at Wang Yun. At this moment, Wang Yun's face was full of smiles. Could it be that the food made by Wang Yun is really that delicious? Lu Changtian began to feel a little suspicious about this. However, as a foodie, Lin Rei was only curious about the food made by others. Speaking of delicious food, he had eaten a lot at Lin Rei's place. It could be said that he would never get tired of eating it. Now that he thought about it, he really missed the days in the Divine Valley. Although he was abused every day, at least he could eat the most delicious food in the world every day. Brother Lu, just wait. I will call you when it's done. After saying that, Wang Yun didn't say anything and turned around to leave, leaving Lu Changtian and Ling Jianzi in the room. For a time, the room was quiet, and the atmosphere was very strange. Lu Changtian was fine, but Ling Jianzi was different. He could feel the pressure coming from Lu Changtian's body. At this moment, being under the same roof as Lu Changtian made him feel a little uncomfortable. This feeling had not appeared for a long time. The quiet atmosphere in the room made Lu Changtian frown. He didn't like this feeling. He looked at Ling Jianzi and saw that he had been silent for a long time. In the end, he couldn't help but speak. Sect leader Ling, I wonder if you have anything to say. The silent and strange atmosphere was broken by Lu Changtian. Ling Jianzi was not very comfortable. Now that he suddenly heard Lu Changtian's question, he became even more nervous. I say, what do you think of me destroying the Sword Sect? Looking at Ling Jianzi, Lu Changtian asked. It's just a chat. Don't be nervous. It's fine. Alright. Hearing Lu Changtian's words, Ling Jianzi's nervousness subsided a little. Then, he spoke his mind. Senior, you actually came to the Sword Sect. I am unwilling to see the destruction of the Sword Sect. However, with your strength before me, no matter what I think, it will still be up to you. However, to put it bluntly, our Swords Gate has always been a law-abiding organization, and we have never done anything that offends the heavens and reason. Even our Swords Gate has a good reputation. Therefore, your arrival is a little out of place. Oh. Upon hearing this, Lu Changtian understood. Of course, he understood what Ling Jianzi had just said. After all, he used to be the city lord of a city, so he naturally had the reputation of the Sword Sect. That's right, Senior. Furthermore, I don't think it's very rational for us to convict an elder of our sect for wanting to take in a disciple. If the other sects in the heavenly fate realm hear that you single-handedly destroyed an entire sect because of a trivial matter, you can imagine what they would do. Speaking up to this point, Ling Jianzi paused for a moment and glanced at Lu Changtian from the corner of his eyes. After seeing Lu Changtian's usual smile, Ling Jianzi heaved a sigh of relief and continued speaking. Let's not worry about whether they'll think you're an evil cultivator. Based on your strength alone, they indeed won't allow you to appear. Why? Lu Changtian asked. Looking at Lu Changtian, Ling Jianzi revealed the whole story. Let me ask you, which sect would want to see someone stronger than them? Moreover, that person is a loose cultivator. If I were the sect master or elder of those sects, would definitely gather the other sects to attack an existence like you who threatens their status. As the saying goes, the tree wants to be still, but the wind won't stop. A tall tree attracts the wind. Hearing this, Lu Changtian smiled. He had also thought of this idea before. However, when he thought of Lin Rei's strength, he felt relieved. He absolutely believed that if those sects dared to make a move, his master would not sit idly by. If they provoked Lin Rei, it was not certain who would be killed in the end. At this point, Ling Jianzi felt that the foreshadowing was almost done, so he quickly said, So, Senior, do you think you should reconsider? I really didn't expect that a dignified sect master would actually set a trap for me. That's amazing. How could Lu Changtian not understand Ling Jianzi's intention? To be honest, he didn't want to do this. After all, he wasn't the kind of person who would kill. If it weren't for the mission, he probably wouldn't have come to the Sword Sect. Senior, please forgive me. When Lu Changtian's smile fell into Ling Jianzi's eyes, it was very terrifying. He directly stood up and bowed to apologize. Senior, this junior is ignorant. However, this junior just wanted to protect the sect. After all, this is the location of my sword sect for thousands of years. Those disciples are innocent. If they lose their lives because of this small matter, then our sin will be too great. His gaze fell on Ling Jianzi. I didn't know if it was because of excitement or fear, but his body was trembling. Such a Ling Jianzi made Lu Changtian sigh inexplicably. Thinking back to the past, when he hadn't met Lin Rui, when he saw the current Ling Jianzi, he would probably be trembling like him now. One had to admit that Ling Jianzi was indeed very good as a sect master. He was always thinking about the sect and its disciples. In a sect, the disciples were the strongest backing and the strongest foundation. If there were no disciples, then no matter how many things there were, it would be useless. In the beginning, he also wanted to enter the Sword Sect because he had such a philosophy. Unfortunately, he didn't take it seriously at that time. Then tell me, what do you want to do? Looking at Ling Jianzi, Lu Changtian said, of course. If I don't kill anyone, it will be a bit unreasonable. After all, this time I came to kill people, so. Speaking up to here, Lu Changtian didn't continue. He believed that as the sect master, even if he didn't say it, the other party should understand his thoughts. Sure enough, after hearing this, Ling Jianzi's worried expression faded a little, but he still hesitated. He understood Lu Changtian's meaning. After the conversation just now, he probably understood Lu Changtian's thoughts. He didn't want to kill people, but it would be unreasonable if he didn't. Therefore, he still had to kill people, but not wipe out the whole sect. If that was the case, he only needed to kill the first few people. But, as Huang Zhong's senior martial brother, the headmaster of Swords Gate, he had to sacrifice his own junior martial brother to protect the sect. This made him feel unbearable. Of course, he hesitated. Although the elders didn't seem to get along well with each other, they were indeed friends, brothers, companions, and relatives who had grown up together. Now that he had to choose, it was undoubtedly digging his heart out. Don't worry, take your time to choose. I'll give you 3 more days to think about it. If you still haven't made a choice after 3 days, I won't give in no matter what you say. Lu Changtian understood Ling Jianzi's hesitation, but, at this moment, he didn't give in. Yes. Yes, I understand. Seeing that Lu Changtian had already said those harsh words, he knew that no matter how hard he tried to persuade him, it would be useless. However, he had to admit that the current situation was already good. After all, there was no need to wipe out the sect or relocate it. But here came the problem. Was he really going to abandon Huang Zhong's brothers, relatives, friends, and family for the Sword Sect and the disciples of the Sword Sect? This choice gave Ling Jianzi a headache. He didn't want to make such a choice. He didn't want his junior brother to suffer any harm, but if he did, the sect would. For a moment, Ling Jianzi fell silent. Sitting on the chair, his brows were tightly knitted together, and his face was full of hesitation. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Sect leader Ling, I hope you understand this. After explaining to Ling Jianzi, Lu Changtian didn't say anything else. Instead, he released his Grim Reaper perception. Found it. He strode out of the room, leaving Ling Jianzi alone in a dilemma. He also left the room and walked toward the kitchen. Although he had never been here before, under the effect of his perception, Lu Changtian came to the kitchen door with ease. Damn, it smells quite good. When he came to the kitchen door and smelled the fragrance coming from the kitchen, Lu Changtian's appetite was aroused. He had an impulse to rush up and pounce on the food like a hungry tiger. Ahem, well, Brother Wang, I wonder if you've finished cooking. Lu Changtian couldn't help but cough softly and say. Wang Yun, who was busy in the kitchen, heard the sound behind him and immediately turned his head. Perhaps it was because of the noise in the kitchen, Wang Yun didn't seem to hear what Lu Changtian said. Brother Lu, when you came here. Seeing Lu Changtian, Wang Yun was stunned for a moment before he spoke. As he spoke, Wang Yun didn't forget to look around as if he was looking for Ling Jianzi's figure. You don't have to look for him. Ling Jianzi didn't follow me out, and I'm afraid he doesn't have time to eat at this moment. With that, Lu Changtian walked in openly. The moment he entered the door, his gaze fell on the dishes that had been prepared on the kitchen table. After taking a deep breath, the fragrance of the dishes that filled the air entered Lu Changtian's nose. Well, indeed, feeling the impatience from his taste buds, Lu Changtian smiled. Indeed, he had to admit that Wang Yun's dishes were very good. Of course, compared to Lin Rei's dishes, he preferred Lin Rei's dishes. He wasn't sure about other things, but he absolutely had this confidence. This was what it meant to say that this dish only existed in heaven and was rarely seen in the human world. Although Wang Yun's dishes were very fragrant, he still felt that Lin Rei's dishes were more flavorful. Ignoring Wang Yun behind him, Lu Changtian continued to eat. If Lin Rei was here, he would have directly slapped him. Wang Yun, who was looking at the side, was full of doubts at this moment. He knew that his senior brother Ling Jianzi liked his dishes the most. It was impossible, but he hadn't started yet. He wanted to investigate, but when he thought that Lu Changtian was still here, he immediately dismissed this idea. ********. Lu Changtian's voice suddenly sounded, but because his mouth was stuffed, Wang Yun didn't understand a single word he said. He turned around and looked over with a puzzled gaze. However, when his gaze fell on Lu Changtian, he accidentally glanced at his food. Suddenly, Wang Yun cursed, and his face turned red. As if he understood what Wang Yun meant, Lu Changtian touched his head and said embarrassedly, I'm really sorry, I didn't eat, however, your dishes are indeed delicious, so I couldn't help but eat a little more. You. Hearing Lu Changtian's words, Wang Yun rolled his eyes and said angrily, You call that eating a little more? I obviously ate all of it. Raising his hand and pointing at the plate that was already full, Wang Yun was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Lu Changtian to like eating so much. Seeing Wang Yun looking at him strangely, Lu Changtian felt uncomfortable. Well, let's not talk about this for now. I have something to discuss with you. What is it? Seeing Wang Yun's response, Lu Changtian was delighted. He knew that he had successfully changed the topic and diverted Wang Yun's attention. I have 2 missions this time. At this moment, Lu Changtian couldn't help but become serious. He was no longer as frivolous as before, and everything he did seemed to be a joke. Sensing the change in Lu Changtian, Wang Yun felt how unusual the next thing was for Lu Changtian to be like this. The first mission is to come to the sect to fulfill the promise back then and exterminate the sect. I know about this. Next. Not wanting to hear about this matter, Wang Yun directly skipped over it. The second mission is to go to the Lin family and see if there's any trouble in the Lin family. If there is, we'll solve it together to prevent future trouble. Lin family? Hearing this, Wang Yun was energized. Yes, the Lin family. You mean that Senior Lin Rei is really the grandson of the Master Lin of the Lin family who has been in a coma for 8 years? Wang Yun was shocked. Although he had heard about it before, he thought it was a joke. After all, if it was true, then Lin Rei was only 15, 16, or 18 years old when he left home. He had such a powerful cultivation at such a young age. This made him feel that his worldview, values, and outlook on life had been completely overturned. Let's not talk about this matter anymore. What I mean is that you can use this matter to make up for it. Of course, I still have to kill people, but I'll kill the source. Your sword sect will also remain intact. As for those disciples, I can't be bothered to care about them. What do you think? I think it's very good. As soon as Lu Changtian finished speaking, Wang Yun's voice sounded immediately. The excitement in his voice could not be suppressed, and he smiled. This smile was very relaxed, without the heavy feeling from before. Yes. Seeing Wang Yun like this, Lu Changtian smiled and continued, "What do I mean? I want to let the disciples of the Lin family enter the sword sect to cultivate, and the sword sect will also send a few experts to oversee the Lin family. They will also announce to the outside world that the sword sect and the Lin family are inseparable. Thinking about it, those arrogant people will not find trouble with the Lin family anymore. Of course, if they do, they will definitely be strong enemies. They will be so strong that even your sword sect is no match for them." You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.